Chapter 8:26. Even Yang Wei and the others were speechless at this moment. Naturally, they could tell that Wang Kai was just teasing and joking. How could he possibly have any intention of liking her? However, she actually directly declared that she wanted to be his concubine and King sleep with him. Damn it! You've always gotten all the good things. Uncle Lu is still single. Fatso Lu, who had just returned, immediately snorted in dissatisfaction when he saw this scene. He floated down from the sky and sized up the beautiful woman, one of the 5 great geniuses, with his eyes wide open. How is it? Wang Kai asked with a frown. Dead. Uncle Lu wanted to finish off Chioli, but who would have thought that not even his bones were left? That Piao Yu is really ruthless, Fatso Lu said with lingering fear. Hearing this, Wang Kai gently nodded. Just as he was about to say something, he was directly interrupted by Green Ghost. Are you a dog's hit? Can you compare to Boss? You think you're single? With your looks, even a ghost wouldn't like you. Green Ghost snorted in disdain. Red Ghost also said in a disdainful tone, That's right. Us 2 brothers are the 7 great generals of the Discord sect. We still don't have a wife. As for you, you're at most a dog's hit. Why are you so anxious? Cut the crap. Although we didn't have a clear winner when we were in the 8 Desolates, it's time for us to fight in the extraterritorial starry sky. Yang Wei said with surging fighting spirit. It doesn't matter if I fight or not. Gold One scratched his head and smiled honestly. Damn it. Fatso Lu's face immediately turned ashen when he heard their words. His face trembled as he pointed at them and roared, You dare call Uncle Lu a dog's hit and a dog's hit? Yeah, what can you do if we say that? If you don't like it, let's fight. That's right. You don't have any ability at all. Why are you acting all big all the time? As soon as the green and red ghosts finished speaking, Fatso Lu could no longer hold back. He immediately waved his arms and attacked them fiercely. CKU. If I don't beat you into dog's hit today, it'll be Uncle Lu's loss. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Beat him. Fight. Bang. Rumble. Rumble. In an instant, the green ghost and red ghost were unwilling to be outdone and directly attacked. At the same time, the 2 ghosts purposefully suppressed their cultivation after discovering that the fatty was only at the celestial origin realm. They fought at the same level as him. Even though this was the case, Fatty Lu was still somewhat powerless. After all, it was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Moreover, the green and red ghosts had made a name for themselves in the 100 Transformation Star region. Hence, they had definitely experienced many big battles. As for Fatso Lu, he could only hole up in one place due to Ku Buddha's seal in the Ku Tua star zone. He was very lazy every day, either enjoying himself or being on guard. It was already very fortunate for him to have reached the celestial source realm. It seems that there's no room for us to make a move. That's good too. Otherwise, he'll say that we're bullying him with numbers. Gold One scratched his head and smiled honestly. Go CK yourself. If you're not convinced, then get up here and fight. Do you think Master Lu is afraid of you little bastards? However, as soon as Gold One finished speaking, Fatso Lu's ears twitched. Taking advantage of his anger, he cursed without thinking. Roar! Roar! Upon hearing such provocation, even the simple and honest Jean Yi was unable to endure it. He immediately roared a couple of times and transformed into his demonic beast form. That dozens of feet tall wild lion body that was covered in a golden light was suddenly revealed. Oh shit! Seeing this scene, the face of Fatty Lu, who was weary from blocking, turned green. His entire body abruptly trembled, and he instantly became clear-headed and calm. He secretly felt extreme regret for his earlier impulse. Alright, let them fight. Gold One, you don't need to take part. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled helplessly. If Gold One really did take part in the battle, Fatso Lu would definitely be viciously beaten up. At the same time, Wang Kai secretly calculated in his heart. Looks like he should quickly find Ling Feng and Can Ren. Otherwise, if this continues, won't Fatso Lu be bullied to death? Although it was clear that they were not really fighting a life and death battle, the problem of dissatisfaction still existed. For example, the green and red ghosts, Yang Wei, Gold One and the others were all cultivators from the Eight Desolate. However, Fatso Lu was not from the Eight Desolate. When the two sides met, they would definitely have thoughts of dissatisfaction. Even if he did not stop them, it would be fine. However, fighting a few times every day was really a headache. It would be better to find Ling Feng and Can Ren and let them combine their strength. Humph, since sect leader has spoken, I'll let you go. Gold One snorted coldly. With a flash of golden light, he transformed into his human form. In response, Fatso Lu moved his lips, wanting to rebuke and curse back. However, in the end, he calmly chose not to attack and pretended that he did not hear anything. Sect leader, should we establish a sect in the extraterritorial starry sky? Yang Wei clenched his fists and grinned. Establish a sect? When Wang Kai heard this, his eyes narrowed slightly. He rubbed his nose and asked in confusion, why establish a sect? Cough cough, sect leader, we heard that in the extraterritorial starry sky, without a faction, you can't enter the central star area. Gold One scratched his head and said honestly, that's right. Moreover, even if you have a faction, you can't easily enter the central star area unless you are in the top 10 of various factions. Yang Wei said softly. Central star area? You must have a faction, and you must be in the top 10 of various factions to enter. Wang Kai frowned and could not help but look at Lady Xuanmiao. He said with a strange expression, is that so? Yes. However, with me leading the way, you don't need to establish a faction or participate in any competitions. Lady Xuanmiao said lightly. Whoosh. When she said this, Yang Wei and Gold One looked at her. Naturally, they knew that she was the famous Lady Xuanmiao of the extraterritorial starry sky. However, they did not agree with what she said. It was better to say that Yang Wei did not want to enter the central star area easily. He wanted to have a good fight on the battlefield and then enter openly. However, even if he had such thoughts, he did not dare to say it out loud. After all, Lady Xuanmiao's reputation was there. If he said too much, it would only cause trouble for Wang Kai. They did not know that Wang Kai's current cultivation was enough to suppress Lady Xuanmiao. Let you lead the way? Ha ha ha, think about it. In the yellow domain, is there anyone who dares to stop Ben Shao? To put it bluntly, who can stop Ben Shao? Even if this young master wanted to dominate the starry sky of the mysterious domain, it would be a piece of cake for him. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and immediately burst into laughter. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade star Venerable Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade. You have received 100 star source points. Chapter 8:27. Hearing this, Lady Xuanmiao frowned and sighed in her heart. She suddenly felt regretful. If she had forcibly brought Wang Kai back to the 9 Heaven Star Zone earlier, he would not be in such a situation where she could not control him. A star venerable, an expert that could not exist in the yellow region starry sky, had been accomplished by Wang Kai. Moreover, he had not been forced to fly into the Xian region starry sky. No matter why he was not restricted, no one could defeat a star venerable expert. If you had not met that mysterious expert in the yellow region starry sky, you might have been able to dominate it. However, with your cultivation, you cannot dominate the Xian region starry sky. Also, the 9 Heaven Star Zone and several other forces have connections with the powerful forces in the Xian region starry sky, Lady Xuanmiao said indifferently. Whoosh! Wang Kai's pupils shrank when he heard this. He naturally understood what Lady Xuanmiao meant. The 9 heaven star zone and several other powerful star zones in the Yellow region starry sky were all connected with the forces in the Xian region starry sky. This proved that even if he was a star venerable, he would not be feared by the 9 heaven star zone and the other star zones, because they could find stronger cultivators at any time. The mysterious expert must have been the one who had easily saved poison god Guang Xian from Sun Wukong and Neza. Since he could defeat Sun Wukong, who was at the peak of the 9th grade Star King, his cultivation must have surpassed that of a Star King. At the very least, he must be a Star Venerable. In the Yellow region starry sky, there were no Star Venerable experts. Lady Xuanmiao also believed that the mysterious expert was from the Xian region starry sky. According to you, no matter how strong Ben Shao is now, he can't dominate the Yellow region starry sky and do whatever he wants? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled with his hands behind his back. Exactly. However, even if he can't dominate, as long as he doesn't go overboard, the powerful forces will not provoke you. They will even try to rope you in. Therefore, you don't have to worry about your safety, Lady Xuanmiao said indifferently. Safety? Wang Kai heard this and the corners of his mouth twitched. In the end, he could not help but laugh. You're saying that Ben Shao is worried about his safety? I'm not afraid to tell you this. Don't talk about Planet Yellow Domain colluding with Xian Domain Starry Sky. Even if the entire Xian Domain Starry Sky becomes his enemy, Ben Shao will not be afraid. Whoosh! Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress's face froze. Her beautiful eyes flashed with understanding. She sighed to herself, is that so? It seems like I have to inform everyone in the 9 heavens star field not to provoke him. Otherwise, before we can contact the forces in the mystic domain, we will be annihilated. In other words, whoever dares to act tough in front of Ben Shao, no matter who they are, don't even think about having a good time. Of course, Ben Shao is also a reasonable and moral person. He won't take the initiative to find trouble with anyone. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade Star Venerate. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade Star Venerate. However, Xuanmiao Empress ignored Wang Kai's words. If he could be so honest, then there wouldn't be any evil people anywhere. Senior, you're so handsome. Suddenly, amidst the silence, one of the 5 great geniuses, the beautiful woman in a green dress, looked at Wang Kai with sparkling eyes. She even opened her mouth to express her love for him. Although Wang Kai liked to be praised and flattered, such a situation made him feel extremely embarrassed. He secretly regretted his unintentional words that had caused this beauty to take a liking to him. Alas, humans can't be too charming and they can't be too handsome. Their talent can't be so earth-shattering that no one can stop them. Otherwise, their lives will be really tiring. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed again and again. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 5th grade Star Venerate. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade Star Venerate. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai was pleasantly surprised. At the same time, he also sighed with emotion. It seemed that he had to control his bragging rhythm. Otherwise, if he continued like this, he would become too strong and stand too high. His relative loneliness would also increase. As the saying goes, it's lonely at the top. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 6th grade Star Venerate. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade star venerate. When the next notification disappeared, Wang Kai rubbed his nose and sighed in his heart. Even his mother's silent recitation is considered bragging. How can he let others live? Ben Xiao obviously wants to be weaker. Little girl, you don't have to look at Ben Xiao like that. We are not suitable for each other. You should know that Ben Xiao is already tired of love and has seen through the worldly affairs. His heart is already in Buddhism. You should find someone else. Wang Kai waved his hand and pretended to be sad as he sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 7th grade star venerate. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade star venerate. He actually rejected her? Whoosh. Although Wang Kai still sounded like he was bragging, to be exact, he had undoubtedly rejected the girl's adoration. For Wang Kai, who had always liked beautiful girls, he was actually willing to take the initiative to reject her. Such a situation immediately caused Yang Wei and Gold One to freeze in place. The green and red ghosts and Fatso Lu, who were fighting, were also stunned. Even the Xuanmiao Empress frowned. Her beautiful eyes flickered with suspicion. No one could believe, and no one could believe, that Wang Kai would actually reject her. Shouldn't he just nod his head and accept her before taking her into his room? Cough cough. Why are you looking at Ben Xiao like that? Don't you believe in Ben Xiao's character? Don't you think that Ben Xiao has always been a virgin since he started cultivating? He has never lost his virginity, nor has he done anything inappropriate to any girl. Wang Kai shrugged and said calmly, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming an 8th grade star venerate. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 4th grade star venerate. Hearing the notification, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. It was impossible for him to stop bragging and slow down the speed of his breakthrough. I believe that what the senior said is true. I am also willing to serve the senior by your side and never leave you for the rest of my life. The girl in the green dress blinked her beautiful eyes, pursed her red lips, and said softly with a smile, Fatso Lu and the others' faces twitched when they heard the words of the girl in the green dress. Even the Xuanmiao Empress didn't believe him, but she actually expressed her trust. If Wang Kai was still a virgin, then pigs could climb trees. Chapter 828. Forget it. However, when Ben Xiao goes out, he does need a maid to accompany him and take care of his daily life. Are you willing? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said with a faint smile. Whoosh. Wang Kai thought he would be rejected. However, the beautiful lady in the green dress actually nodded and agreed. She even bowed to him. I, Qing Ci, am willing to serve young master. Qing Ci? That's a good name. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard that. He didn't care anymore. Since he had already agreed, it would be embarrassing if he rejected her again. Okay, you three stop fighting. Get ready to go to the next star area, Wang Kai said with his hands behind his back. Buzz. Bang. Rumble. Hearing that, Fatso Lu and the green and red ghosts collided fiercely. Then they retreated. Ahem, for the sake of young Master Kai's face, Uncle Lu will spare you this time, but the next time you try to act tough, I'll definitely beat you until you kneel and call me Grandpa. Fatty Lu gasped for breath as he put his hands on his waist and shouted. The green and red ghosts' expressions were quite ugly in response to this. They swept their eyes over him in disdain and snorted coldly. However, they did not say anything else. If Wang Kai had not spoken to stop them, they would have been able to beat Fatty Lu into submission in another 100 breath. To travel in the star area, you need a magic treasure like a starry sky warship. Of course, if you have the confidence to deal with the starry sky turbulence that may appear at any time, you can walk in the air, Xuanmiao Empress said calmly. Magic treasure for transportation? Wang Kai frowned when he heard that. Even though he had reached the star venerable realm, he didn't have much confidence in dealing with the starry sky turbulence. If it was a grade 3 starry sky turbulence, it would be fine. With the power of the star venerable realm, he could easily resist it. However, if it was a higher grade, Wang Kai really didn't have the confidence. Moreover, no one knew how much bragging points it would take to break a higher grade starry sky turbulence. You don't have any magic treasures? Wang Kai asked in surprise. If the mysterious Empress had it, he would not need to use his bragging points to exchange for it. After all, who knew when he would need it in the future? Previously, when he dealt with the level 3 space turbulence, he had used up all his bragging points. Once my Dharma treasure is activated, it can only fly to the 9 heavens star zone. Also, if you want to better withstand a temporary crisis, the Dharma treasure must be at least at the Star Lord level. Otherwise, the Dharma treasure will definitely shatter in the face of danger, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. The flying magic treasure shattered. He vaguely remembered that Drifting Moon's starry sky battleship had not been destroyed when it encountered the chaotic streams of space. Instead, it had been able to endure and resist. Of course, if Xuanmiao Empress and Piao Yu hadn't joined forces, the interstellar warship wouldn't have been able to hold on for long. But no matter how long he could hold on, as long as he could withstand the massive attacks of the starry sky turbulence, it would be enough. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked in confusion, a Star Lord level flying magic treasure. What level was Piao Yu's space warship? Star King level, Mysterious Empress said calmly. Star King level, if that was the case, wouldn't the level of a flying magic treasure be the same as a cultivator's realm? Above the Star Lord level was the Star King level, and the Star King level was the top level in the Yellow Region starry sky. As a Star Venerable, if he obtained a Star King level flying magic treasure, he would feel embarrassed. Damn it! She actually gave Ben Shao a difficult problem. Wang Kai's face darkened, and he cursed silently with a speechless expression. It's strange. Piao Yu has a magic treasure that can fly at will, and it's a magnificent space warship. But you, Xuanmiao Empress, you don't even have one. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a disdainful expression. Wang Kai wouldn't believe that Xuanmiao Empress didn't have one. If Piao Yu had one, how could she not have one? Moreover, if she didn't have one, how did she go from the 9 heavens star zone to the Tianzhou? Could it be that she flew? When she had the space warship, she had to resist the chaotic streams of space. Even Xuanmiao Empress felt that it was extremely strenuous. It would be strange if she could do it by stepping on air. Of course I have one. However, it was destroyed by the chaotic streams of space on the way here. If I hadn't abandoned the space warship, how could I have escaped the chaotic streams of space unscathed? Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently without changing her expression. It was as if escaping from the chaotic streams of space was a very honorable thing. Wang Kai grinned. He didn't expect Xuanmiao Empress to encounter the chaotic streams of space on the way here. She and Piao Yu had to resist them together, and it was extremely strenuous. It was indeed lucky for her to be able to resist them alone and abandon the space warship to escape. Give Ben Shao a space warship. A Star Venerable Level 1. Wang Kai frowned and secretly urged with his mind. Host, a Star Venerable Level warship has exceeded the limits of the space you are in. If you forcibly use it to fly, it will consume all your bragging points. Moreover, the bragging points must not be less than 100,000. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai frowned and couldn't help but urge with his mind to summon the system page. Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Star Warrior Realm, 8th Grade Star Venerable Title, Unparalleled Bragging Skills, Shaking Heaven and Earth Star Technique, Karma Dao Technique Star Technique, none identification, torch dragon eye equipment, ever-changing fan star power, level 6 star source points, 1060 physique, invulnerable protector beasts, Sun Wukong, Zhu Beiji, Sha Wujing, Neza, Silver Horn King bragging points, 109000 experience, 01000000 inch 109000. It must not be less than 100,000. Ben Shao has more than 100,000 now. But I can't just waste 9,000 bragging points for nothing, can I? Wang Kai thought to himself with a frown. Immediately after, Wang Kai opened the system store again and made a selection. In the end, he chose a heavenly halberd that was worth exactly 9,000 bragging points. Its level was also a Star Lord level weapon. As long as he didn't encounter a Star King powerhouse, a Star Lord level weapon was impressive enough. Get this heavenly halberd. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining a Star Lord level weapon, the heavenly halberd, for 9,000 bragging points. Get the Star Venerable level space warship. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining a Star Venerable level space warship, the Tyrant, for a total of 100,000 bragging points. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Star Warrior realm, level 8 Star Venerable title, unparalleled bragging skills, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Dao technique star technique, none identification, torch dragon eye equipment, ever-changing fan, Star Tyrant, heavenly halberd star power, level 6 star source points, 1060 physique, invulnerable protector beasts, Sun Wukong, Zhu Beiji, Sha Wujing, Neza, Silver Horn King bragging points, 0 experience, 01000000 inch Star Tyrant, heavenly halberd. Both sound impressive. Unfortunately, their levels are too far apart. One is a Star Venerable, while the other is a Star Lord. Wang Kai shrugged and sighed helplessly. Chapter 829. Host, the Sky Halberd can be upgraded. With 100,000 bragging points, it can be upgraded to a Star King level weapon. With another 100,000 bragging points, it can be upgraded to a Star Venerable level weapon. Hearing this, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched fiercely. In this case, if he wanted to get a Star Venerable level weapon, he would need at least 200,000 bragging points. Thinking of this, Wang Kai couldn't help opening the store and glancing at the price of a Star Venerable level weapon. At first glance, he found that it was indeed 200,000 bragging points. Moreover, battleships were also 100,000 bragging points. Are you fooling Ben Shao? Those battleships can be bought with 100,000 bragging points, but you said that it would consume all of Ben Shao's bragging points. Now that Ben Shao has successfully bought a battleship, he will need another 9,000 bragging points to buy the Sky Halberd. He will need another 200,000 bragging points to upgrade it to a Star Venerable level weapon. He can buy one with only 200,000 bragging points. Isn't it a waste of 9,000 bragging points for Ben Shao? Wang Kai's face was dark, and his forehead was full of black lines as he urged his mind. Host, in the starry sky of the Yellow region, you can't use Star Venerable level weapons and flying magic treasures. You can only use them by force. Moreover, it is impossible for you to exchange for a Star Venerable level Sky Halberd. Hearing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly, and he didn't say anything more. In the end, it would consume more bragging points to use a Star Venerable level weapon in the starry sky of the Yellow region. As for how much it would consume, the system didn't have a clear figure at all. It was obviously a trap. Hierarch, if you're talking about space battleships, I remember that the variable Star King has one that happens to be at the Cosmic Lord level. Seeing that Wang Kai didn't speak for a long time, Yang Wei and the others thought for a while and reminded him together. Now that the Variety Star Monarch had fallen, the Starry Sky battleship was naturally unclaimed. A Star Lord level star warship? Ben Shao is so awesome, but he uses a Star Lord level star warship? Do we match? Wang Kai curled his lips and said with an arrogant expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a 9th grade star venerable. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm, 9th grade star venerable title, peerless bragging, shaking heaven and earth star magic, karma great Tao magic star technique, nun identification, torch dragon eye equipment, hegemon of stars, sky piercer star power, level 6 star source points, 1160 physique, invulnerable guardian spirit, Sun Wukong bragging points, 10,000 experience, 0200000000. As the notification sounded, the system page appeared in Wang Kai's mind. My experience has increased to 20 million, and Sun Wukong is the only protector beast left. Even the ever-changing fan has been cancelled. Wang Kai frowned, glanced at it, and closed it with his mind. Sect leader, the Star Lord level star warship won't work. We can't go out, Yang Wei said helplessly with a stiff face. The green and red ghosts and Fatso Lu were speechless. Of course, they all knew that Wang Kai was just acting tough. Actually, it's not too much to take my warship to the 9 Heavens star zone. I can give you a Star King level flying magic treasure, and I won't restrict your freedom, Xuanmiao Empress said calmly with joy in her beautiful eyes. If she could take Wang Kai to the 9 Heavens star zone like this, wouldn't it save her a lot of trouble? Even though he was a star venerable expert and no one could defeat him, as long as he arrived in the 9 Heavens starfield, he would be able to communicate with the forces of the mysterious domain. Then, he would be able to send more powerful cultivators to suppress Wang Kai. Restrict Ben Shao's freedom? Do you think the 9 Heavens star zone can do that? Besides, even if Ben Shao goes to the 9 Heavens star zone, what can he do? The 9 Heavens star zone will disappear before you can contact the experts in the dark domain. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Xuanmiao Empress, who was always indifferent and rarely showed her emotions, showed her joy just now. How could Wang Kai, who was good at reading people's expressions, not see it? How could he not know what she was planning? Along the way, he had met many people, from young to old, and old monsters who had lived for thousands of years. He had even dealt with these people. How could he be afraid of the Xuanmiao Empress, who had been sealed for 100,000 years and had only wandered the world for 100 years? He had been afraid before, but now he was not afraid at all. No matter if it was strength or calculation. Oh, if you are so confident, then follow me to the 9 Heavens star zone. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave the 100 change star zone. Of course, you can choose that poor Star-Lord level space warship, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Who said Ben Shao doesn't have a space warship? Ben Shao doesn't care about the 100 change Star King's Star-Lord level space warship. Today, I'll let you broaden your horizons. Come out, Overlord of the Stars. Buzz. As soon as Wang Kai finished speaking, a huge black warship appeared in the void. It was as if it covered the sky and the sun. It stayed in the sky, making people feel intimidated. Furthermore, the warship did not possess any means of attack. For example, it did not possess any cannonballs or other offensive weapons. It was like an impenetrable fortress. This is a Star-Lord level warship? Impossible. Impossible. Whoosh. Xuanmiao Empress's expression changed drastically. She looked up at the huge black warship, biting her red lips so hard that they turned white. You have a good eye. This is indeed a Star Venerable level warship. Although it's a warship, it doesn't have any means of attack, because its most powerful means of attack is itself. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile with an indifferent expression, It was indestructible and had an amazing defense. It had the same defensive power as a Star-Lord level expert. Moreover, it was so tough that it could withstand a full blow from a Star-Lord level expert. Even if it encountered a level 3 space turbulence, there was no need for anyone to block it. The warship could smash all the space turbulence that attacked it. Where did you get it? Xuanmiao Empress came back to her senses and tried to remain calm. However, her heart was full of questions and shock. She had never thought that Wang Kai could get his hands on a Star-Lord level space warship. Moreover, he had reached the Star-Lord level, but he was not restricted by the starry sky and brought to the dark domain by force. All of this was beyond Xuanmiao Empress's understanding. Who on earth was Wang Kai? He was actually so unfathomable. Sigh, it's just a Star-Lord level warship. What is it? This young master is a peerless hero from ancient times to modern times. If you want to get me, wouldn't it be as easy as breathing? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a disdainful smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Chapter 830. The starry sky was boundless. The incomparably huge pitch-black ship sped through the starry sky. Wherever it passed, it brought with it powerful gales, causing the surrounding stars to tremble incessantly. To the cultivators in the stars, it was as if the mountains were collapsing and the earth was cracking. And the culprit of all this, on the starry sky tyrant battleship, was a scene that could make people go crazy. On the deck, there were 2 tables. At one table sat Red Ghost and Blue Ghost, Yang Wei and Gold One, playing mahjong enthusiastically. At the other table, Wang Kai, Xuanmiao Empress, and Fatso Lu were playing Fight the Landlord. Moreover, behind Wang Kai stood a beautiful woman in a green dress. She was massaging Wang Kai's shoulders with her slender and soft hands. If the cultivators who were in a state of panic due to the tremors of the battleship saw this, they would definitely vomit blood and die on the spot. While they were suffering from the tremors, the culprit was playing mahjong and Fight the Landlord. F***CKU. Who told you to play 6 cards? You F***King lit the cannon again. It's fine if you lit the cannon, but why didn't you light it for me? F***CKU. Why are you so stupid? Green Ghost slammed the table and stood up. He pointed at Red Ghost's nose and cursed loudly. They had played dozens of games, and Red Ghost had lit the cannon more than half of them. Every time Green Ghost had a good hand, he couldn't play. He really despised it. F***CKU. How would I know what you're playing? Besides, it's useless to only have 6 cards. Do you need me to light the cannon for you? Are you an idiot? Red Ghost stood up and scolded indignantly. F***CK me? You still dare to quibble? Green Ghost snarled with a fierce look. Not only are you quibbling, I'm going to beat you up. F***CKU. Bang. Plop. Suddenly, Green Ghost was caught off guard by Red Ghost's attack. Green Ghost's nose was pierced and blood flowed out and he was sent flying. It's starting again. We've played 47 rounds and they've also fought 47 rounds. Gold One scratched his head and said in a rather funny voice. On the side, Yang Wei frowned and said disdainfully, Don't play if you can't afford to lose. You fight back and forth, but you don't fight with me. Fighting with you is asking for a beating. Gold One was speechless as he muttered. Bang. Bang bang. However, the green and red ghosts simply couldn't stop at this moment. They were already in a mess. Seeing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He suddenly regretted telling them about mahjong. Young Master Kai, young Master Lu still has a 3 left, the green-dressed woman whispered into his ear. While she was serving Wang Kai, she also secretly looked at Fatso Lu's cards when he wasn't paying attention. Every time Fatso Lu tried to be the landlord, she saw everything and caused him to lose every round. With Wang Kai's intentional concealment and Xuanmiao's intentional help, she didn't discover anything. Of course, if Xuanmiao tried to be the landlord, the green-dressed woman naturally wouldn't dare to look at her cards. Wang Kai also didn't tell her to look. Hee, damn fatso, you were quite happy when you played your cards earlier. Now you're at the end of your rope, right? You still have a 3 in your hand. How dare you call yourself the landlord if you don't calculate properly? Wang Kai frowned and laughed in his heart. Do you want it or not? 3 2s and 2 4s. If you don't want it, Uncle Lu is leaving. Fatso Lu shook his big face and smiled rather proudly. I can't afford it, but Xuanmiao can. Furthermore, she can make you bankrupt in one go. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Whoosh. Hearing this, Fatso Lu frowned and quickly scanned the cards that were played. Then, he shook his head and said, Impossible. The 2 kings have already been played. It's impossible for the other cards to have a 3. Only the king hasn't appeared. Uncle Lu doesn't believe that the 2 of you have 4 kings in your hands. 4 kings. Clatter. Suddenly, under Fatso Lu's desperate expression, Xuanmiao Empress slammed 4 kings on the table. Then, with a few consecutive moves, she directly threw out all her cards. Fatso Lu didn't come back to his senses even after he lost for a long time. He thought that he would definitely win this time. Who would have thought that he would still lose? Impossible. Did the 2 of you secretly switch? Cough cough. Pretend I didn't say anything, pretend I didn't say anything. Just as Fatso Lu stood up and was about to go crazy, he was frightened by Xuanmiao Empress's indifferent gaze and sat back down in fright. Fatso Lu, remember, if you don't have 2 kings with 4 2s and 4 as, you can't steal the landlord. Otherwise, you'll definitely lose. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. 2 kings? 4 2s? And 4 as? Could he even get a hold of these cards? Fatso Lu curled his lips and glared at Wang Kai angrily. He patted his big belly and snorted. Young Master Kai, Uncle Lu has helped you many times, but you haven't helped Uncle Lu even once. I can only say that human nature is heartless. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. His forehead was full of black lines. He didn't expect Fatso Lu to play moral abduction. Even if the 2 of them were brothers, with Wang Kai's character, it was impossible for him to be at a disadvantage. Oh, the weather is indeed a little cold. It's time to put on some clothes. However, before that, let's make our name known. Wang Kai shrugged and changed the topic. Fatty Lu was naturally very clear about this. Wanting to make Wang Kai suffer a loss was absolutely a fool's dream. We don't even have a name. What's there to make a name for? Bragging Alliance? Or the Heaven Sect? We're already in the sky. If you want to fight, you should fight against the stars. Fatso Lu curled his lips and said disdainfully. Sect Master, I think it's better to call it the Moon Embracing Palace. The Green Ghost and Red Ghost, who had just stopped fighting, shouted in unison. Moon Embracing Palace? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. He had to admit that the Green and Red Ghosts were really smart. The name they came up with was not bad and was very poetic. However, it still lacked a little domineering. What Moon Embracing Palace? Do you think you're a scholar? In my opinion, it should be called the Divine Palace Battling the Extraterritorial Realm. Yang Wei rolled up his sleeves. His eyes were full of fighting spirit as he said, Battling the Extraterritorial Realm, Divine Palace Battling the Extraterritorial Realm? As soon as these words came out, Wang Kai and the others were speechless. Even Xuanmiao Empress frowned. A look of disdain flashed across her beautiful eyes. Why don't we call it the Lion Divine Sect? F*CKU, is it for your family? Does it have to have the word lion? It should be called the Wealthiest Sect. Fatso Lu shouted in disdain. Damn Fatso, the Green and Red Ghosts can suppress their realm to fight with you. I, Wild Lion Genie, will not let you go. Thank you for the tip from Mo Shangwio. Chapter 831. Yo-Yo, Do you think Uncle Lou is afraid of you? Fatso Lou's face trembled as he stood up and challenged. Damn Fatso, you're right this time. We support you. Gold One, you've gone too far. Anything is fine, but how can you include the word lion? Even if you want to, you should have the word ghost. The green and red ghosts waved their hands in dissatisfaction. Whoosh. Seeing this scene, Wild Lion Gold One lost his confidence. With the addition of the green and red ghosts and Fatso Lou, he really couldn't beat them. If he rushed up, he would only end up being beaten. I'm too lazy to care about you. The sect master has the final say on what to call it. The lousy name you guys came up with isn't any better. Gold One snorted disdainfully. It can be called the Nine Heavens Moon Embracing Palace. The main force is in the star domain. I can get a star for you. Xuanmiao Empress said lightly. Nine Heavens Moon Embracing Palace? Hearing this, everyone rolled their eyes. In the end, wasn't it just adding the two words Nine Heavens in the Nine Heavens star domain? But due to Xuanmiao Empress's power, no one dared to say anything bad. They could only cast their gazes toward Wang Kai. Let's call it the Starry Sky Supreme Mansion. In the mansion, set up the Moon Embracing Palace, the richest pavilion, the unique hall, and the Lion God building. You guys can recruit people to take care of them. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Starry Sky Supreme Mansion. Whoosh. Hearing this, Fatso Lou and the others raised their eyebrows. Even Yang Wei, who had always been belligerent, showed an excited expression at this moment. Starry Sky Supreme Mansion, as the name implied, was the ruler of the starry sky. It was above any force and dominated the starry sky. With such a name, if one's strength wasn't strong enough, once it spread out, it would lead to a devastating blow. However, thinking about Wang Kai's current cultivation, as long as he didn't leave the Yellow Region starry sky, it was fine. In the Yellow Region starry sky, he could be invincible. Too arrogant. Many forces will definitely not allow such a name. Xuanmiao Empress frowned and said coldly. It could be seen that she was extremely displeased with the name Starry Sky Supreme Mansion. After all, Lady Xuanmiao was the second strongest cultivator in the Nine Heavens starfield. How could she allow someone else to use such a disdainful name? It's up to him whether he allows it or not. Whoever is not convinced, come out first if you have the gut. Ben Shao guarantees that he will destroy his entire planet and make him a stray dog. Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted with a disdainful expression. Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes were filled with anger, but she could not refute. With Wang Kai's current cultivation, he did have the ability to destroy any force in the Yellow Region. In the starry sky there is a universally recognized rule. If you want to establish a force, you must have disciples, elders, protectors, and so on. Of course, more importantly, you must have a star as your foundation. This is a matter of face for every force. Of course, if you don't care about face, you can also establish your own force, Xuanmiao Empress said lightly. In the end, he just didn't want the name of Starry Sky Supreme to appear in the world. Wang Kai's face darkened and he snorted with disdain. Isn't it just a star? The 100 Changes Starfield is not bad. Let's do it. Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually. The 100 Changes Starfield is not in the center of the Yellow Region. Of course, there is no harm in using it as your foundation planet. However, your status will be lower than the central starfield, Lady Xuanmiao Empress said with a faint smile. Bang! Hearing this, Wang Kai suddenly became angry. He slammed the table and sneered with disdain. Isn't that simple? When we reach the central starfield, we will take the Nine Heavens starfield first. Bang! Hearing this, Lady Xuanmiao's face turned cold. She slammed the table with her jade-like hand, stood up and scolded angrily. How dare you! You are the one who is being presumptuous. You are making excuses. Ben Shao wants to establish a force. Even if there is no starfield and no disciples, so what? As long as he has enough strength, who dares to say no? Moreover, this star venerable grade battleship is the best signboard. Which force in the yellow region has it? Wang Kai shrugged and scolded angrily. Whoosh! Hearing this, Lady Xuanmiao fell silent. Indeed, star venerable grade battleships did not exist in the yellow region. However, Wang Kai had one. Such a signboard was indeed more prestigious than any planet. Forget it. You can do whatever you want. However, I have to remind you that even in the most powerful sky region, no force dares to use the name Starry Sky Supremacy. You can think about the trouble it will bring, Lady Xuanmiao Empress said lightly. In response, Wang Kai waved his arm and sneered arrogantly. Others don't dare, but it doesn't mean that Ben Shao doesn't dare. It's settled then. Starry Sky Supremacy Mansion will be the name of our force. There is no other reason than that we are Starry Sky Supremacy. Congratulations, host, for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through to the first stage Starry Sky Supremacy. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through to the first stage Starry Sky Supremacy. Congratulations, host, for successfully breaking through to the first stage Starry Sky Supremacy. Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Star Warrior Realm, First Stage Starry Sky Supremacy Title, Unparalleled Bragging Skills, Shaking Heaven and Earth Star Technique, Karma Dao Technique Star Technique, Nun Identification, Torch Dragon Eye Equipment, Starry Sky Tyrant, Sky Piercer Star Power, Level 7 Starry Sky Supremacy, 1-260 Physique, Invulnerable Guardian Beast, Nun Bragging Points, 30,000 Experience, 020000000. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai frowned and looked at Sun Wukong's name that had disappeared from the Guardian Beast. Seeing that his star power had been upgraded to level 7, he was filled with emotions. He was now so strong that even Sun Wukong was not as strong as him. Besides, with level 7 star power, he could be considered a peerless genius. If he reached level 8, he would be like Xuanmiao Empress and Piao Yu, the son of a god. However, for Wang Kai, reaching the 8th or even the 9th grade was not his goal. His goal was to reach the strongest level 10. Arrogant. Ignorant. Being too arrogant will bring endless trouble, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared in a flash. She couldn't stand Wang Kai's pretentious act anymore. Insensible bitch, Lanlan, come over and massage Ben Shao's shoulders, Wang Kai said casually with a shrug. Yes, young Master Kai. Lanlan, the woman in the green dress, hurriedly responded and reached out her hand gently. Who is the closest to here? Host, 1,500 kilometers to the left, Icy Star, Lu Tian, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bone Ghost King. Among them, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor is in a weakened state and is in danger of dying at any time. Congratulations, host, for successfully snooping. 10,000 bragging points have been consumed. Whoosh. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face suddenly grew sullen and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Chapter 832. Icy Star. Under the full speed of the Star Venerable level warship, they passed through the starry sky in less than 100 breaths. They even smashed many uninhabited stars and arrived at their destination smoothly. Before they entered the star area, waves of icy aura rushed toward them. Even Xuanmiao Empress, who was at the 7th level of the Star King realm, felt the chill. Yang Wei, Fatso Lu, the green and red ghosts, Gold One, and Lan Lan, the maid, were all shivering from the cold. Seeing this, Wang Kai frowned. Due to the system, he was not affected by the temperature at all. Don't go down for the time being. Wait here. Xuanmiao and I will go together. Wang Kai waved his hand and said calmly. They had not even entered the icy star, but they were already so cold. If they went in, wouldn't they be frozen into ice sculptures? Fatso Lu and the others all nodded. Looking at the snow-white star, they all felt a chill in their hearts. This temperature is just right for me to exercise my physical body. My pure yang overlord body can also take this opportunity to seek a breakthrough. Buzz. Yang Wei laughed and tore the clothes on his upper body with a flip of his hand. Then, he stepped out of the warship without using any stellar source strength to block the attack. Moreover, from time to time, he would gradually approach the icy star according to his body's tolerance. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai inwardly nodded. It had to be said that amongst everyone, only Yang Wei was the most battle-hungry and the most martial-addicted. Let's go. Remember to be careful. Don't force yourself, Wang Kai said. Then he stepped into the air and floated into the icy star with Xuanmiao Empress. At the same time, on an ice mountain at the edge of the icy star, 3 people were sitting in a circle. They were all transferring blue stellar source energy to a soul in the center. 3 of the 4 people were Lu Tian, the soul-devouring ghost emperor, and the white bone ghost king. The last one was a middle-aged woman with an outstanding appearance. She was wearing a long black dress. While using her stellar source to resist the cold, she was also transferring stellar source energy to the soul-devouring ghost emperor. Big Brother Lu, what should we do? His injuries are getting worse, and he can't even maintain his human form. If we can't find a way to save him, I'm afraid he won't live past today. The middle-aged woman frowned and said worriedly, No matter what, I have to help him get through this, White Bone Ghost King said in a deep voice. As he channeled stellar source energy, his own stellar source energy was also decreasing. As a result, his body gradually turned back into a body of bones. After being together for a long time, the few of them could be said to have gone through countless trials and tribulations together. Up until now, their feelings for each other had grown even deeper. Naturally, they couldn't bear to see anyone get into trouble. They had even become sworn brothers. Lu Tian was the eldest, the soul-devouring ghost emperor was the second, the White Bones Ghost King was the third, and the middle-aged woman was the 4th sister. If we want to cure the frost poison in second brother's body, we can only find that damned ice dragon. Only he has a way. Lu Tian frowned and said with an ashen face. You can't. If he went to find that ice dragon, wouldn't he be walking right into a trap? The middle-aged woman opened her red lips and said in a firm tone. If you want to go, I'll go. You can't go. Swoosh. Upon hearing this, Lu Tian and the White Bones Ghost King both opened their mouths to refuse. Although they hadn't known their 4th sister for long, they were very clear about her background and experience. Furthermore, along the way, he had been saved by her many times. As the youngest 4th sister, how could he let her take the risk? My cultivation is the highest here. I'll go. 4th sister, you stay behind and take care of second brother with third brother. Lu Tian withdrew his stellar source energy and stood up. His tone was firm. That's right. The 3 of us were able to escape from Ice Dragon because you risked your life to save us. If anyone should go, it should be me. Big brother, it's precisely because your cultivation is the highest that you should stay behind. The White Bones Ghost King said in an ear-piercing voice. After a long period of channeling stellar source energy, he had lost his human flesh and had completely turned back into a body of bones. Even when he spoke, his bones were rubbing against each other. There's no need to argue. Third brother, even if you go, you won't be able to defeat that ice dragon. If I go and fight to the death, there's still some hope. Lu Tian waved his hand and said in a deep voice. The White Bones Ghost King was at a loss for words. The middle-aged woman was also speechless. Indeed, among the 4 of them, only Lu Tian could fight the ice dragon. However, they knew very well that the price of fighting the ice dragon would be death. However, Big Brother Lu, your cultivation is no match for that ice dragon. It will depend on your luck if you can fight it. I'm afraid that the tricky moves that you used previously will not be effective against that ice dragon," the White Bones Ghost King said. Upon hearing this, Lu Tian shook his head gently. He naturally knew that success or failure was unknown. However, as he had the highest cultivation, he had to go. If sect leader is here, helpless, Lu Tian could not help but look up into the sky. However, before he could finish his sentence, his mouth opened wide and his eyes widened. He was stunned on the spot. "Big Brother Lu, why are you? Who is that?" Immediately after, the middle-aged woman frowned. She stared at the sky in surprise. Just who was it that could make Lu Tian so shocked and not show any vigilance? At the same time, the White Bones Ghost King also looked up. When he saw the figure in the sky, the bones all over his body creaked. He wanted to say something, but he could not. "Where is the ice dragon?" Wang Kai, who had just entered the icy star, covered the entire star area with his divine thought and rushed over with Lady Xuanmiao. Looking down at the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, who was extremely weak and had turned into a soul, and listening to their words, Wang Kai had a strong murderous intent. At this moment, Wang Kai wouldn't even hesitate to destroy the icy-cold star. Even if all the cultivators in the star area died for the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, it would not be a pity. Sect leader. The ice dragon is. I'll take you there." Lu Tian came back to his senses and shouted in a hoarse voice. He was extremely emotional. At this moment, even his eyes were red. Tears were brewing in his eyes, and he could not hold it in any longer. It seemed that his tears would fall at any time. He did not expect that Wang Kai would really come. "Well, Xuanmiao, if you have a way to save my brother, I will consider helping you solve the problem in the Nine Heavens star area." Wang Kai nodded slightly and said in a cold tone, "Swoosh." Hearing this, Lady Xuanmiao's beautiful eyes flickered slightly. She was also very surprised. She could not help but feel a little frightened by the killing intent that Wang Kai was deliberately suppressing. Chapter 833. I can save him. You can do whatever you want. Xuanmiao Empress said plainly. She naturally understood why Wang Kai had spoken to her. This was because Wang Kai, once released, would become a murderous devil who did not care about the life and death of others. However, if things really turned out that way, killing the ice dragon but not curing the ice poison of the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, it would not be worth it. In fact, this was the case. What Wang Kai wanted was a delightful battle, a lightning-attributed killing without any fear. "Okay, Lu Tian, lead the way." Wang Kai nodded and said in an extremely unstable voice. Swoosh. Hearing this, Lu Tian did not hesitate. He stepped into the air and flew towards the western ice sea with all his might. At this moment, Wang Kai was in a violent rage. They had come early and found out early. If they had been late, wouldn't the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor be doomed? At the same time, Lu Tian, who wanted to fight the ice dragon, would end up in the same situation? In the end, the death of Lu Tian and the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor would lead to the White Bone Ghost King walking right into the trap. With this, Wang Kai would lose 3 brothers who had gone through thick and thin together in the 8 Desolates. Wang Kai could not tolerate such a thing. He could not tolerate it, and he would not tolerate it. All of you, step back. At the same time, Xuanmiao Empress floated down from the sky with her hands behind her back. She looked at the soul that was wrapped in stellar source power and said faintly, "Icy poison, icy way." However, the cultivation of the person who cast the spell is too weak to pose a threat. Swoosh. As soon as she finished speaking, Xuanmiao Empress waved her hand. A blue stellar source energy floated down and merged with the soul of the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor. The white ice spots in the soul instantly disappeared. Keep his soul. Use the stellar source energy to heal him for a day. It will help him regain consciousness and recover completely, Xuanmiao Empress said plainly. Seeing this scene, the White Bones Ghost King and the middle-aged woman were both dumbfounded. Who would have thought that he would be able to neutralize the cold poison so easily? It was clearly just a wave of his hand, but he had dispelled the icy poison that they were helpless against. In fact, they were so shocked that they even forgot to express their thanks and put away the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor. He was already in a state of shock. Do I have to personally heal his soul? Xuanmiao Empress frowned when she saw this and said in a displeased tone. Even if he had promised Wang Kai to save the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, he couldn't possibly hold the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor's soul and heal him personally, could he? Thank you, Senior. Thank you, Senior. Senior, please forgive me, forgive me. White Bone Ghost King and the middle-aged woman came back to their senses. Their faces were pale as they repeatedly apologized. No need to thank me. I didn't save him for nothing. Moreover, the cultivator who cast the frost poison is merely a star general. It's not enough for me to take it seriously, so there's nothing to be surprised about. The mysterious Empress said indifferently. A mere star general, not enough to take it seriously. What the F***ck? Just what kind of powerful confidant did the sect master find this time? Even a star general is not in his eyes? How powerful is the sect master? White Bone Ghost King thought in shock. The middle-aged woman carefully retrieved the soul of the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor. As she channeled her astral source energy to heal him, she asked softly, "Big Brother Liu, will you and that young man be all right?" Although the mysterious Empress was very powerful, Wang Kai didn't make the middle-aged woman feel that he was very strong. After all, she couldn't perceive Wang Kai's cultivation. She could only perceive that he was only in his 20s. In his 20s? How strong could he be? Young man? Don't talk nonsense. That's our sect master, Wang Kai. He's a person who can cause earth-shattering events wherever he goes. White Bone Ghost King scolded in a slightly displeased tone. What are you shouting for? He's your sect master. Am I not your fourth sister? The middle-aged woman snorted with displeasure. It's not the same. White Bone Ghost King returned to his human form and said with a stiff face. He leaned forward and secretly transmitted his voice. I'm afraid that you'll provoke the sect master and then he'll, God. Your sect master is actually such a dissolute rogue? He won't even let go of an old woman like me, who has cultivated for more than 2,000 years and has a middle-aged appearance. The middle-aged woman asked in a shocked tone. Hearing this, White Bone Ghost King nodded heavily and secretly transmitted his voice. Our sect master doesn't care how old you are. As long as you have a little beauty, he will be ruthless. Moreover, don't always say that you're an old woman. In the eyes of us three brothers, you're always the most beautiful woman. Third brother, don't waste your energy. My heart is always Brother Liu's. No matter how you flatter me, you won't get any response. The middle-aged woman faintly transmitted her voice. Hearing this, White Bone Ghost King's eyelids twitched and he smiled awkwardly. Let's go and take a look. I hope he won't make too much trouble. After all, this is a star with countless cultivators. Rumble. Rumble. However, before Xuanmiao Empress could finish her words, the entire icy star began to tremble violently, and the ground began to crack in an instant. Countless icebergs and rivers cracked and eventually turned into fine powder. A few dozen breaths ago. Under the lead of Lu Tian, Wang Kai came to the sky above the ice sea, which was 10,000 miles to the west. Bastard, how dare you come back? Ao. Splash. Suddenly, the seawater in the ice sea began to churn. Following that, furious dragon roars could be heard. Come out and talk to me. Wang Kai frowned and his face twisted. He roared fiercely and raised his hand to clench the sea below. Buzz. Ao. Splash. In an instant, the water in the ice sea was directly separated by the huge pressure, revealing a passage. On the ground at the bottom of the sea, there was an ice dragon covered with silver dragon scales. This is the Star King realm? No. Stronger than my father. Are you an expert at the peak of the 9th grade Star King realm? The ice dragon's eyes widened as it roared loudly with a shocked expression. Immediately, it turned around and stepped into the sky, staring at Wang Kai with vigilance. It was even ready to escape. I'm going to blind your eyes, crush your horns, peel off your skin, chop off your flesh, drain your blood, pull out your tendons, and crush your bones. I'm going to torture you to death. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and gave a sinister and cruel laugh. Chapter 834. On the warship in the extraterritorial starry sky. After the creatures that had been killed by the icy star were resurrected, Wang Kai and the others left immediately. They didn't look for the dragon god, who was the owner of the icy star. The dragon god didn't dare to show up to seek revenge. Wang Kai was disappointed for a while, but he couldn't do anything about it. After all, Xuanmiao was with him. Even if she couldn't defeat Wang Kai now, she could stab Wang Kai's heart with her words. It became a moral rope that was tied to Wang Kai's body. Moreover, Wang Kai didn't want to break free, because he knew that once he broke free, no one knew what would happen to him. Young Master Kai, you are too King crazy this time, aren't you? Fatso Lu patted his big belly and listened to Lu Tian's story. His face turned pale. If one were to be in such a situation, one would probably be scared to death on the spot, right? Of course, Fatso Lu and the others weren't scared of the destruction of the icy star or the horrible scene at that time. They were worried that Wang Kai would become a crazy demon. Fortunately, he didn't. Well, it's a little too fierce. After all, Ben Shao is so domineering and invincible in the universe. It's difficult to find an opponent who is on par with him. Ahem, it's difficult to reach the top of the universe. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled calmly. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, the corners of the people's mouths twitched. They suddenly regretted it. It would be better to let Wang Kai become a crazy demon than to listen to him bragging all day long. Indeed, he was able to brag about any topic. Did you make another breakthrough in your realm? Xuanmiao frowned and came to Wang Kai's side. She stood still and asked in an indifferent tone. After sensing the power of Wang Kai's attack, although it was very light and he didn't release all of it, he could clearly sense that Wang Kai was no longer a star venerable. Although she didn't know how strong the realm above the star venerable realm was, Xuanmiao Empress couldn't just sit by and watch. Right. He just broke through to the star venerate realm not long ago and is now above the star venerate realm. He should be able to proclaim himself an overlord in the profound domains starry heavens, unrivaled, right? Sigh, Ben Shao is simply too awesome. He's so awesome that I can't even look straight at him. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a rank 2-star monarch. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Star venerate realm. Whoosh. Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress frowned deeply. Her beautiful eyes were filled with horror as she stared at Wang Kai. She didn't expect Wang Kai to have reached the star venerable realm. In the mysterious domain, there are countless star venerates and many star monarchs. However, those who can be called the 4 great star monarchs are all at the peak of the star venerable realm. At the same time, they are led by an emperor overlord. It is said that the overlord is a star emperor. After Xuanmiao Empress finished speaking as if she was talking to herself, Wang Kai frowned. His expression was extremely strange. Are you telling this young master that a star-venerate cultivation is far from enough to dominate the profound domain's starry skies? Wang Kai asked with a disdainful smile as he frowned. Previously you were a star venerable. Now you are a star venerable. Even if I can't understand your cultivation speed and breakthrough method, my guess won't be wrong. You haven't reached the peak of the star venerable realm. Moreover, even if you reach the peak of the star venerable realm, you won't be able to dominate the mysterious domain, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Because there was an emperor overlord above him, the ruler of the mysterious domain, a dignified star emperor expert? Wang Kai curled his lips. He didn't care about this at all. No matter how strong they were, he only needed to brag if he wanted to surpass them. Since that was the case, what was there to be afraid of? It could be said that ever since Wang Kai started cultivating, he didn't know what it was like to be afraid. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, "Do you want me to stay behind and not leave the Yellow Region Starry Sky and head to the Xian Region Starry Sky?" Xuanmiao Empress gently nodded. Then, she shook her head and said softly, "Yes and no. What I said just now was a reminder. Of course, I do want you to stay for the time being and help the Nine Heaven Starfield resolve the baleful aura. The baleful aura of the Nine Heaven Palace in the core star of the Nine Heaven Starfield?" Wang Kai shrugged. He really didn't care about the so-called baleful aura. Maybe he couldn't resolve it before, but now it was too easy for him to resolve it. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face suddenly stiffened. What's going on? Could it be that Benxiao's current cultivation is unable to resolve the baleful aura of the Nine Heaven Palace? In Wang Kai's opinion, the system's notification was absolute. It couldn't be wrong at all. Along the way, there had never been a situation where there was a mistake. This also proved that the baleful aura of the Nine Heaven Palace wasn't enough for him, who was already a star venerable, to resolve it. Xuanmiao Empress, Ben Shao needs to have a good chat with you. Wang Kai frowned. His forehead was full of black lines as he said in a deep voice. Fortunately, he inadvertently thought about it and realized that he couldn't resolve the baleful aura of the Nine Heaven Palace. Otherwise, if he really dared to go to the Nine Heaven Palace, wouldn't he be doomed to die there? I don't know much about the baleful aura. Only my father knows, but he never told me in detail. If you want to know, you can go to the Nine Heaven Starfield to find out. Xuanmiao Empress shook her head and said. In the end, without knowing how dangerous it was, he still had to go to the Nine Heaven Starfield? Wang Kai's mouth twitched and his face turned green. Benxiao doesn't want to talk about this now. Let's wait until Benxiao finds some of his friends. Wang Kai waved his hand and said indifferently. Now, he had found Fatty Lu, the green and red ghosts, Yang Wei, Gold One, Lu Tian, the soul-devouring ghost emperor, and the white bone ghost king. He still hadn't found Ling Feng and Broken Blade. Moreover, Jing Xian, the Fan Zhou Empress, Miao Yin, Bai Yanyan, Kong Ro, and Kuan Shui were still missing. As for Li Ling Xian, Wang Kai already knew that she was in the purple gold starfield. However, thinking about it, she wasn't in any danger now. The purple gold starfield wouldn't dare to do anything to her. After all, the purple gold starfield's young master, Zi Kuan, was still in his hands. How many people have you not found? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and said with a slightly unhappy tone. Oh, 8 people I haven't found. One of them already knows where she is. Wang Kai, who was thinking secretly, casually waved his hand and replied. What? There are still so many? Xuanmiao Empress's face darkened. She thought that Piao Yu had spun a cocoon around herself, and caused her to leave Wang Kai's side, so she could send Wang Kai to the Nine Heaven Starfield faster. Who would have thought that things weren't that simple? Chapter 835. What do you mean there are still so many? I'm not afraid to tell you that along the way, Ben Shao has killed countless humans and beasts. However, there are only a few who are worthy of being his friends. As for someone of your level, you can only be considered a maidservant, Wang Kai said with a calm smile as he shrugged. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have obtained 10 million experience. Bragging points, 10,000. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through and becoming a rank 3-star venerate. Congratulations to host for successfully breaking through. You have obtained 100 star source points. Maidservant? Were there only a few people who were worthy of being his friends? Not to mention the Xuanmiao Empress, even Fatso Lu and the others covered their faces with their hands, feeling extremely embarrassed. Xiao Chun was simply too good at bragging. Whenever he saw someone powerful or disliked them, he would beat them up. In more serious cases, he would even kill them. It would be strange if he had friends with such behavior. Then, where are we going now? This is the Icy Star. We just need to travel another 50,000 kilometers, and we will reach the core astral region. With this star venerate warship, we will arrive in less than 100 breaths, the Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Hearing this, Wang Kai shrugged. Naturally, he knew that she said this because she wanted him to go to the 9 heavens astral region first to resolve the baleful aura. However, how could that baleful aura be so easy to resolve? Even as a star venerate, the system determined that he could not resolve it. If he really went, he would definitely die. Who is the closest person to me? Where is he? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly used his mind to ask. Host, all the cultivators from the 8 Desolates, the Immortal Martial Domain, and the Fan Province have been brought to the Heaven Domain's starry skies. This search consumed a total of 10,000 bragging points. Whoosh! As the system notification rang out, Wang Kai's pupils suddenly constricted. His expression also instantly sank. How could he have imagined that before he could find them, they would be taken away? Furthermore, why would the system notify him of the 8 Desolates, the Immortal Martial Domain, and the Fan Province? Normally speaking, there were only 9 people left who were related to him and had successfully ascended to the Tianzhou or even the Starry Sky. Could it be that someone else had ascended too? Who took them away? Wang Kai asked with a frown. Host, the cultivator who took them away is called Old Man Tianji. This search cost a total of 10,000 bragging points. Crack. Hearing this, Wang Kai was so angry that he waved his hand and smashed the table into pieces. It's that damned Tianji elder again. F*CKU. Fuck your 8 generations of ancestors. If I don't beat you to a pulp and find 10,000 old sows to play you to death, I, Ben Shao, will be the lord of all heavens in vain. Wang Kai sneered through gritted teeth. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Everyone was stunned when they saw Wang Kai suddenly fly into a rage and curse viciously. Old Man Tianji? Why does this name sound so familiar? Lu Tian frowned and muttered curiously. Regarding this, Jin Yi and Yang Wei had strange expressions on their faces. As cultivators of the 8 Desolates, they had naturally heard of Old Man Tianji's name. After all, Old Man Tianji was a well-known figure in the 8 Desolate. Even Prime Minister Ji, who was the most respected person under the Heavenly Emperor, had to be polite to him. Of course you have heard of him. This Old Man Tianji is the trickster who used to swindle people in the 8 Desolate. However, Ben Shao did not expect him to be so smart. He actually swindled people into the starry sky. If I had known, Ben Shao would have taught him less. Wang Kai sneered with a black face. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to become a rank 4 Starlord. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to become a rank 4 Star Source. Right. Old man Tianji. That mysterious expert who is rumored to be able to divine the secrets of the heavens and has never failed. Lu Tian clapped his hands as he recalled. At the same time, Yang Wei and Jin Yi also came to a realization. Sect leader, is it really the same person? No matter how powerful that old man Tianji is, he shouldn't have the ability to come to the starry sky, right? Could it be that he is also a peak expert? Yang Wei asked doubtfully. I have only heard the conversations of some cultivators. I am not familiar with old man Tianji, Jin Yi said as he scratched his head. He didn't have the ability to come to the starry sky? Wang Kai raised his brow when he heard this, a look of disdain appearing on his face as he sneered. His ability is so great that even this young master has been secretly schemed against by him thousands of times. Now, Jing Xian, Leng Feng, and the others have also been brought to Heaven Domain's starry sky by him. What? As soon as these words were spoken, Fatty Lu and the others were stunned. No one could have imagined that old man Tianji was so powerful. He can come and go as he pleases between the Yellow Domain's starry sky and the Heaven Domain's starry sky. What's even more incomprehensible is that he's actually able to bring people over. Lan Lan's red lips moved as she spoke in surprise. At this moment, Lu Tian's fourth sworn sister's face was filled with disbelief. They had all heard of old man Tianji. However, no one knew exactly how powerful old man Tianji was. They also didn't know where he came from. Now, after hearing Wang Kai's words, even Lady Xuanmiao was shocked. It is true that old man Tianji is extremely famous in the mysterious domain starry sky, but it is impossible for him to have the ability to go to the heaven domain starry sky. Moreover, it is even more impossible for him to bring people there. This is absolutely impossible. Impossible. Mysterious Empress furrowed her brows and vetoed. Her expression and tone had already betrayed her heart. Anyone could tell that she was just trying to comfort herself when she said that it was impossible. After all, this kind of thing was simply too shocking. Nothing is impossible. Ben Shao always keeps his promises and never lies. Moreover, Ben Shao's divination skills are among the best. Old man Tianji, that old bastard, was taught by Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Keep his promises? Never lie? If it was said that before, everyone was still a little bit convinced. But now, they didn't believe it at all. If they believed Wang Kai's words, wouldn't they be looking for trouble? Wang Kai was too lazy to explain. The system's prompt would never be wrong. Although he didn't know why old man Tianji wanted to take Jingxian and the others away. But now, he could only be sure of one thing. Old man Tianji already knew that his cultivation had reached a level that the Yellow Domain starry sky could not reach. If he wanted to deal with him, he could only leave the Yellow Domain starry sky. Why not choose the Xian Domain starry sky? The Hell starry sky is also fine. Why did you choose the strongest one, the top of the 4 big starry skies? Old man Tianji, do you want to have a decisive battle with Ben Shao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly sneered. Chapter 836. Now, the people he wanted to find had all gone to the Heaven Domain. Within the Yellow Domain starry sky, Wang Kai didn't have the slightest bit of reluctance. If there were still some experts who could fight him, Wang Kai might have come to challenge them and fight to his heart's content. However, there was probably no one in the entire starry sky of the Yellow region who could match his current cultivation. Of course, the mysterious expert who took poison god Guang Xian away was an exception. After all, from Xuanmiao Empress guess, the mysterious expert did not belong to the Yellow region starry sky. Forget it. Before leaving the Yellow region starry sky, I'll find the mysterious expert who took Guang Xian away and have a good fight. It can be considered as leaving a bit of Benshio's name in the Yellow Region starry sky. Yes, this is the Yellow Region starry sky's honor, and also a gift from Benshao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching the 5th star Lord realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and obtaining 100 star source points. Whoosh. Hearing these words, Fatso Lu and the others were unable to accept it. However, Xuanmiao Empress figure flashed, and she stared at Wang Kai with a stiff expression. You want to leave the Yellow Region starry sky? You want to leave just like that? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and asked in an extremely unstable tone. The baleful aura in the Nine Heaven Palace had not been resolved and Wang Kai wanted to leave? Then, what was she doing by following him all the way? Was there any use? Furthermore, when they met just now, he had seen her body and even posed in such a position. Was she going to be played by him just like that? As these thoughts appeared in her mind, the more Xuanmiao Empress thought about it, the more her emotions fluctuated. In the end, her face was covered in frost. Her jade-like hands clenched into fists, and a cracking sound could be heard. She gritted her teeth so hard that it seemed like they were going to shatter. If that gaze could kill, Wang Kai would have died countless times already. No, no, no. I won't leave now. It won't be too late to leave after I destroy that mysterious expert who took poison god Guang Xian away. And I only hope that he won't disappoint Benshao. The stronger he is, the better. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Have you forgotten our agreement? Xuanmiao Empress shouted angrily. If her cultivation was higher than Wang Kai's, she would have killed him already. How infuriating! Promise? What agreement? Although you have been in love with Benshao for a long time and can't wait to get Benshao's body, I'm sorry, but Benshao doesn't remember making any promises with you, let alone pledging to be with you for life. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a look of disdain, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Bastard! When we were in Tianzhou, we clearly had an agreement. Once the matter of the sky reaching school was settled, you would follow me to the Nine Heavens star zone. Now, you say there was no agreement? Is your character so bad? Xuanmiao Empress's eyes were cold and she scolded in a cold tone. Swoosh. When Fatty Lu and the rest saw this scene, they all swallowed a mouthful of saliva. At the same time, they turned around and left without saying a word. In such a situation, no one could get a word in edgewise. No one knew what their relationship was. The only thing they could do was to hide and let them solve it themselves. After all, some things would only get messier the more they got involved. Oh, you're talking about that. Benshao still remembers. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Remember? Xuanmiao Empress's eyes narrowed and the frosty look on her face eased a little. She asked faintly, When are you going to fulfill your promise? Travel? Oh, didn't Benshao just say that? I won't leave the Yellow Star Zone for the time being. As for traveling to the Qian Star Zone, it won't be long. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled casually. Fulfill my promise in the Qian Star Zone? Xuanmiao Empress frowned deeply and thought for a long time. Then, she came to a realization. She bit her red lips and scolded angrily, Bastard! You bastard! Don't play dumb in front of me! I'm fulfilling my promise, not letting you go on a trip. What promise? Wang Kai was stunned and asked. Xuanmiao Empress was speechless. She had just finished speaking and now he was asking again. He was obviously toying with her. Even so, there was nothing she could do. She could only calm down and repeat in a gentle tone, Once the matter of the sky reaching school is settled, you will follow me to the Nine Heavens star zone. Oh, that matter, there was indeed such a thing. However, after Piao Yu interfered, It was left unsettled, wasn't it? Otherwise, after the matter of the sky reaching school was settled, why didn't you go to the 9 heavens star zone with Ben Shao? You even set a deadline of 3 months with Piao Yu to fight for Ben Shao. Damn it, you're treating Ben Shao as a prostitute. At the end, Wang Kai's face was full of displeasure. It was as if not being angry was already a blessing to Xuanmiao Empress. Left unsettled? Good. What a good left unsettled. Previously in the Icy Star, when I saved your brother, you said that you would consider going to the 9 heavens star. You're despicable and shameless. Suddenly, Xuanmiao Empress's voice stopped abruptly. She sensed that something was wrong. Her eyes were filled with anger towards Wang Kai. Consider, not confirm. With Wang Kai's character, he would definitely use this to quibble. Until now, Xuanmiao Empress had already sunk into despair. She could not do anything to Wang Kai. However, something that surprised Xuanmiao Empress happened. Oh, you're talking about that matter. Don't worry, Ben Shao always keeps his promises. He will never do anything to deceive others, let alone a woman. Moreover, you saved Ben Shao's brother. The significance is different. After dealing with that mysterious expert, Ben Shao will go to the 9 heavens star zone. Wang Kai said indifferently. He actually agreed? It was that simple? The sudden change caused Xuanmiao Empress to be unable to regain her senses. She was in a daze for a long time. Sigh, so troublesome. He's too strong. It's really not a good thing. There will always be many troublesome matters that come looking for Ben Shao to deal with. Many years ago, when Ben Shao was in charge of the entire extraterrestrial star zone, there weren't so many matters. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade Star Lord realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade. You've received 100 star source points. Then your previous attitude of refusal, were you deliberately toying with this monarch? It was very interesting, right? Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes narrowed. Her red lips moved, and her voice was extremely cold. In fact, her beautiful and delicate body was faintly trembling at this moment, causing a certain part of her upper body to gently jump up and down. It seemed that it had caused Wang Kai's gaze to stare blankly. It was very interesting, and I even got an unexpected harvest, heh heh heh. Wang Kai grinned and laughed in a low voice. His eyes emitted a green light as he stared at her chest, fiercely staring at it. Chapter 837. At the edge of the core star area, in front of a small star called the Life and Death Star, the warship that Wang Kai and the others were on slowly came to a stop. This star is the place where many forces want to enter the core star area and have a decisive battle. The dozens of connected stars at the back are the so-called core star area. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled in surprise. He could clearly see that behind the Life and Death Star, there were a total of 49 stars that were connected. Among them, there was only one place where only 9 stars were connected together. The others were all connected with 10 stars. That's right. The star area where the 9 stars are connected is the 9 heaven star area. The other 4 star areas are the Mystic Moon Star, the 4 Symbols Star, the Violet Gold Star, and the Death Star area. Lady Xuanmiao nodded and said, 9 Heaven Star area, Mystic Moon Star area, 4 Symbols Star area, Violet Gold Star area, and Death Star area. The place where the 5 star areas were gathered was the so-called core star area? Although there were still countless scattered stars after these 49 stars, they were dim and dull compared to the 5 major star regions. I once heard that only those who possess 10 third-rank stars can be considered one of the strongest forces in the Upper Huang region. So far, only the 5 major star regions have been able to reach such a level. Lu Tian frowned and said with admiration, Yes, that's right. The 9 heaven star area is the most special existence among the 5-star areas. It originally had 10 stars, but for some reason, one of them was destroyed many years ago. However, its overall strength didn't decrease by much. Due to its long-standing reputation and the strength of 9 stars, it's still ranked among the 5-star areas, although it's a little behind. Fatso Lu's face shook as he smiled. Due to the evil spirit, a 3rd-grade star was destroyed. Now, it's trapped in the 9-heaven palace. If it's not removed in time, not only will the 9-heaven star area fall, but the other star areas and even the entire upper yellow region will become abandoned stars. Lady Xuanmiao frowned and said faintly, "The stars in the starry sky were also ranked. For example, the 5 major star fields were all grade 3 stars, and there were only 49 of them. As for the other scattered stars in the core star area, they were all grade 4 stars. Outside the core star areas, such as the 100 change star area and the Ku Tua star area, they were all at the 5th, 6th, or 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. There was only one way to raise the level of the stars. For example, in order to transform a grade 9 star into a grade 8 star, one would need to seize control of 10 grade 9 stars and gather them as one to successfully evolve into a grade 8 star. If 10 stars of the same level were gathered into one, it would increase its level. Only the 5 most powerful forces in the core star field could reach the 3rd-grade star field. Wang Kai, who had just learned of this, could not help but be surprised. He touched his nose and said with amusement, "In the core star area, other than the 5 major star fields, there are many other star areas. However, there are only 5 of them, and the highest level is only grade 8. Ben Shao, can you guess that because of the 5 major star fields' intentional suppression, they are unable to become stronger?" Swoosh. Hearing this, Lady Xuanmiao's beautiful eyes flickered. Without any hesitation, she nodded and said faintly, "That's right. If we let them continue to devour and increase their level, the status of the 5 major star fields will be shaken." Sect Master, should we take all the planets outside of the 5 major star zones? When they merge into one, not to mention a grade 3 star, we can even have a grade 2 or grade 1 star, right? Fatso Lu squinted his eyes and grinned. Only grade 3 stars can exist in the starry sky of the yellow region, Lady Xuanmiao said indifferently and glared at Fatso Lu coldly. She could not help but be worried, but more than that, she was angry. What if Fatso Lu's reminder caused Wang Kaijin to become interested and merge all the stars into one? What should he do? Wouldn't the starry sky of the yellow region be in chaos? She should be right. Among the 5 major star fields, except for the 9-heaven star field, which lost 1 star due to the evil spirit, the other star areas have 10 grade 3 stars. If they were to merge into one, they would have reached the grade 2 star level. You can imagine why they didn't do that. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. As for the matter of integrating all the star domains, Wang Kai had no interest in it at all. If he wanted to do that, he would have to go to the sky of the heavenly region. In the weakest starry sky of the yellow region, what was the use of obtaining a grade 1 star? Who is the master of the ship? If you want to enter the core star area, you have to hand over 10 million Star Lord stones and choose at most 10 cultivators to enter the life and death star for a duel. Suddenly, a voice full of impatience was heard. Wang Kai and the others turned and looked at a middle-aged man floating in front of the warship. "Are you blind? Don't you see that Lady Xuanmiao is on our warship? Also, our sect master's warship is so awesome and domineering. How dare you come and collect the fees?" Lu Tian sneered in disdain, pointed at the middle-aged man and berated him. Whoosh! Hearing this, the middle-aged man's face suddenly changed. He was already impatient, but when he saw Lady Xuanmiao, he was suddenly shocked. He had never thought that Lady Xuanmiao would appear outside the life and death star. Normally, Lady Xuanmiao did not need to go through the life and death star to return to the core star area. She could directly enter the Nine Heavens star area with her own star path trajectory. Could it be a fake? Someone is deliberately impersonating Lady Xuanmiao to sneak into the core star area? As this thought emerged in his mind, the middle-aged man's face instantly became cold. He waved his hand and took out a long spear. He shouted, "How dare you! How dare you impersonate Lady Xuanmiao? Today you are destined to die here." Impersonation? Hearing this, Lu Tian and the others were stunned. They could not help but turn their heads and look at Lady Xuanmiao. They were suddenly very suspicious. Could she really be an impersonator? Otherwise, with her reputation, how could the people on the Life and Death star not know her? The Nine Heavens star area has a unique star path trajectory. I have never passed through the Life and Death star to enter the core star area. It is reasonable for them to be suspicious, Lady Xuanmiao said lightly. Whoosh. Hearing this, Lu Tian and the others were still skeptical. If it were not for her unfathomable cultivation, they would have shouted that she was an impersonator. You're quite good at pretending. However, if you want to get away with it, you're too stupid. All the cultivators in the entire Yellow region know that Lady Xuanmiao has never passed through the Life and Death star to enter the core star area. Using such a public matter as proof is an additional crime. The middle-aged man snorted disdainfully. Chapter 838. Go f***ck yourself. I don't care if she's the real Xuanmiao Empress or not. Just the fact that you dared to stop our sect master is enough for you to die 10,000 times. Fatso Lu put his hands on his waist and shouted at the middle-aged man. Why are you talking nonsense with him? He's just a guard dog. He thinks he's awesome? Beat him up. Green Ghost roared and took the lead to attack. Seeing this, Red Ghost also followed closely behind. Then, Yang Wei, Gold One, Lu Tian, White Bone Ghost King, and the others all attacked together. It could be said that on the warship, except for Wang Kai, Xuanmiao Empress, Lan Lan, and Fatso Lu, the others all rushed out. A bunch of overconfident trash. Buzz. Suddenly, the middle-aged man brandished his spear and fiercely swept it at Lu Tian and the others from afar. Immediately, blue astral source energy swept out. The power contained in it was extremely terrifying. F***ck. He's a star general? F***ck. What are you afraid of? Our sect master is here. Beat him up for me. Under Fatso Lu's loud shout, Lu Tian and the others almost fainted. They all rushed out, but he was the only one who hid on the warship and howled. If it weren't for the strong enemy in front of them, they would have definitely turned around and beat him up first. However, Lu Tian and the others' figures and attacks did not slow down because they all believed that with Wang Kai here, no matter who came from the Yellow region's starry sky, it would be useless. Wang Kai, that cultivator, is a guard of the Life and Death star. Everything he did was his duty. Your brothers were too impulsive and rash. It's reasonable to let them suffer a little. You'd better not interfere. If there's danger, I'll come out and stop them. Xuanmiao Empress frowned and said lightly. Whoosh. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at her coldly. Then, he raised his arm and pointed at the middle-aged man. He said indifferently, Ben Shao has no rules here, and there's no distinction between good and evil, because everything Ben Shao does is righteous. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and bragging points. Buzz. As soon as his voice fell, a terrifying star source power directly penetrated the middle-aged man. Not only did it disperse the power he had unleashed, but it also fixed his body on the spot. You're the Star King? This is impossible. The middle-aged man's face immediately turned as pale as paper. With a single glance, he could tell that it was Wang Kai's doing. He wanted to struggle, but was unable to summon even the slightest bit of strength. All he could do was watch as Lu Tian and the rest surrounded and attacked him. How can you do this? As an expert, you must have the dignity of an expert. He's just a first-grade star general. He has his duty, and he didn't attack with malice. Why are you suppressing him like this? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and said with displeasure, "The dignity of an expert? Duty?" Wang Kai's pupils shrank when he heard this. He put his hands behind his back and smiled indifferently. "No, you're wrong. Dignity isn't given by others, but earned by oneself. Even if he has his duty and came out to intercept, his duty has angered Ben Shao. So, sometimes duty is also wrong." Whoosh! Xuanmiao Empress's face stiffened when she heard this. Then, she shook her head and didn't say anything else. If it were any other expert, they definitely wouldn't get angry with a first-grade star general, and they definitely wouldn't lose their dignity and attack him. However, Wang Kai didn't care about this at all. He was already a Star Lord, but he still attacked a Star General who was far below him. Little did he know that even if a martial warrior acted tough in front of Wang Kai, he would still be given a fatal slap. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently, "Xuanmiao, you have your way, and Ben Shao has Ben Shao's way. Our paths are different and we can't work together. This time you spoke to stop Ben Shao. I hope this is the last time. Forcing your way on Ben Shao won't work." Previously, on the Icy Star, if Xuanmiao Empress hadn't spoken to stop it, the entire Icy Star would have been reduced to chaos. However, Wang Kai didn't get angry at that time. On a whim, he didn't lose anything. He agreed to her request and resurrected those cultivators. However, now that he mentioned his name, that middle-aged man still dared to shamelessly stop him. If he didn't beat him up, he would be letting him down. In Wang Kai's words, this middle-aged man didn't know how to deal with people. As long as he was a pretentious prick, he wouldn't tolerate him. You misunderstood. The Life and Death Star is jointly approved by the 5 major star fields and the many factions in the core star field. If you do this, you will become an enemy of the entire core star field. Even if your cultivation is outstanding, and the starry skies of the Yellow Domain and the Xian Domain might not be able to capture you, have you thought about this? Once a star venerate makes a move, will the starry skies of the Yellow Domain still have a way out? If you want to resolve this peacefully, why do you choose to plunge people into misery and suffering? How can you bear to commit such a great sin? Hearing Xuanmiao Empress's comforting words, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He glanced at her strangely, somewhat disdainful of her in his heart. None of his close female friends, such as Jingxian, would make excuses to interfere with him like this. They would even do it themselves. However, Wang Kai could also see that Xuanmiao Empress was a woman who was overly righteous. She would look at everything from the long term. It would not be an exaggeration to say that she cared about the big picture. However, her righteousness had nothing to do with herself. What does the survival of the starry skies of the Yellow Domain have to do with Ben Shao? If they are not convinced, they can come out and act pretentious in front of Ben Shao. Of course, Ben Shao wouldn't mind waving his hand and completely destroying the starry skies of the Yellow Domain. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Those who dared to act pretentious in front of him and his brothers would either be beaten up or destroyed. On the ice-cold star, he might not have destroyed it on a whim. However, it was hard to say now. After all, Wang Kai's character had always been casual and unpredictable. How can you have such thoughts? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and sighed. She did not say anything else. In her opinion, with Wang Kai's cultivation, he should do some righteous things and become an expert revered by all the cultivators in the starry skies of the Yellow Domain or even any other starry skies. This was Xuanmiao Empress's goal all along. Don't talk nonsense. If you continue to talk nonsense, Ben Shao might not be able to hold himself back at any time. With a flick of his finger, he could destroy any one of the 5 major star regions, or even all of them. Wang Kai frowned and waved his hand impatiently. Wang Kai found it unbearable to listen to her nagging all the time. It was better when they were in Tianzhou. She would rather destroy all the living things in Heaven Connect City to capture him. However, everything changed when they were in the starry skies of the Yellow Domain. It could be seen that to Xuanmiao Empress, the peace of the starry skies of the Yellow Domain was the most important. It was because of this that she had stopped him from killing Zikuan, the young master of the Purple Gold Domain. Chapter 839. You have such killing intent. How did you cultivate to this level? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and said indifferently, when a cultivator reached the Saint Realm, there would be a heavenly tribulation. The more one killed, the stronger the tribulation. Under normal circumstances, 80 out of 100 people would definitely die under the heavenly tribulation. As a result, the cultivators in the universe did not dare to kill as they wished. Just like the bitter Buddha in the bitter Tuo star field, he would rather imprison everyone and make them suffer than take their lives. Hearing this, Wang Kai naturally knew what she meant. Heavenly tribulation? Oh, that Ben Shao experienced it once, and he took it on his own accord. Otherwise, the heavenly tribulation would not descend on Ben Shao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. It was just a heavenly tribulation, so the system naturally ignored it. However, Xuanmiao Empress's reminder made Wang Kai pay attention. The previous heavenly tribulation might not have harmed him at all. However, from her words, it seemed that there would be another heavenly tribulation in the future. You are too arrogant. I hope you can avoid being killed by the heavenly tribulation when you step into the sky domain, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Hearing this, Wang Kai shrugged and did not care too much. If he could avoid the danger of the heavenly tribulation, no matter how terrifying it was, there was no need to be afraid. Arrogant? Ben Shao has always been domineering. If you don't like it, then let's fight. As for arrogance, this young master has always been very big. From the day I was born, I was so big that I could flip over a city wall with a swing of my hand. Now that I've matured, how old do you think I am? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th stage, Starlord Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 Star Source points. Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress furrowed her brows. She glanced at Wang Kai indifferently and fell silent. Just as Wang Kai had said, those who walked different paths could not work together. Motherf *Ker, are you still going to act tough in the future? Stop acting tough. I won't pretend anymore. *CKU. Isn't it a little too late to say that now? Bang! Bang bang bang! Lu Tian and the others had encircled the middle-aged guard in the center and began to indiscriminately bombard him, slapping him loudly. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Stop hitting me. The middle-aged guard hugged his head and curled up in the air. He was like a rubber ball that was being kicked over and over again. You're wrong? You still know you're wrong? *CKU. 1. Suddenly, Fatso Lu's fat body trembled as he stepped into the circle of battle. The moment he arrived, he sent the middle-aged guard flying dozens of feet high with a slap. If you don't hurry, then kill him. Such humiliation, isn't it? Forget it. Mysterious Empress frowned when she saw this scene. Her eyes were filled with disdain. Naturally, she was not used to torturing people. What they didn't know was that Wang Kai had tortured too many people along the way. Even those who were tortured to death were not few in number. Kill him? Wouldn't it be letting him off too easily if I killed him so easily? Moreover, the kind Benshao doesn't like killing. You said it just now. An expert should have the dignity and face of an expert. As the most powerful expert, Benshao naturally needs dignity and face. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Mysterious Empress shook her head and sighed when she heard this. She had a clear understanding of Wang Kai's character. He loved to brag, was arrogant, looked down on everyone, and was ruthless. His ruthlessness was even more terrifying than that of a demon. One could imagine that whoever angered him would definitely receive a thunderous blow. Sect Master, do you want to give it a try? At the same time, Lu Tian and the others returned in the air, as if they were very tired. Only Fatso Lu was left behind, who was still beating up the guard. It was as if the middle-aged guard was a toy. He was almost played to a pulp by Fatso Lu. Don't call him Sect Master. Call Benshao Mansion Master from now on. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled with an indifferent expression. Starry Sky Supreme Mansion. It was reasonable to call him Mansion Master. Lu Tian and the others grinned and looked at each other. They cupped their fists and said with a smile, "Greetings, Mansion Master." Well, kick that bastard out of the life and death star field. The merciful Benshao has decided to spare his life. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Yes, Mansion Master. Lu Tian nodded slightly. Just as he was about to kick the middle-aged guard out of the life and death star, he saw that Fatso Lu had already taken action. Moreover, he broke the guard's limbs before throwing him out. Let him experience the pain of the cultivators in the outer star field. Look at his stupid face. He must have extorted a lot of cultivators before. The number of cultivators who were bullied by him is definitely not small. Fatso Lu clapped and said. Wang Kai and the others nodded slightly. They did not feel that Fatso Lu had done anything wrong. In this case, it can be called an eye for an eye. It's not that we don't want revenge, it's just that it's not time yet. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled softly. Indeed, it's not that we don't want revenge, it's just that it's not time yet. Buzz. Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. On the Life and Death Star, there was an old man. He was walking in the air with a dozen guards in golden armor. Star King Realm. Moreover, he was a third-grade Star King. Even in the 5 major star fields, he could be counted as one of the top 5 experts. It should be noted that Xuanmiao Empress, the second strongest expert in the 9 heavens star field, was only a 7th-grade Star King. Behind the old man were a dozen experts, all of whom were at the peak of the Star Lord realm. After killing the small ones, the big ones come. If this goes on, won't there be no end to the killing? How about we directly destroy this life and death star? That way, there will be no obstructions in the starry sky of the yellow domain, allowing all cultivators to come and go as they please, Wang Kai said with a playful smile as he narrowed his eyes. Wonderful. If we do this, I'm afraid all the cultivators in the outer star fields will regard you as a god. Green Ghost and Red Ghost flattered in unison. Humph, this method won't change the difference between the top and the bottom. Xuanmiao Empress snorted coldly. Even if the Life and Death Star was destroyed, would the cultivators in the outer star field be able to enter the core star field? Without the Life and Death Star, as long as the 5 major star fields still existed, they could create another star to guard the entrance. Who says it can't be changed? If anyone disagrees, they can disappear together like the Life and Death Star. Wang Kai curled his lips and said indifferently. Chapter 840. You. Just because of a whim, you want to bury the entire yellow region? Lady Xuanmiao's beautiful eyes narrowed and her expression was filled with disbelief. At first, she thought that Wang Kai was just saying it casually. Now, it seemed that it was absolutely true. If he wanted to do something, he would definitely do it. The Yellow region is not Ben Shao's home, and there are no relatives or friends of Ben Shao. Since this is the case, what does it have to do with Ben Shao whether they live or die? Moreover, it is not Ben Shao who wants to destroy them. It is they who resisted Ben Shao and chose to die. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and sneered disdainfully. Courting death? Lady Xuanmiao was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. Her eyes were filled with anger. She had never thought that Wang Kai would say such words. It was you who stepped in and disrupted the order of the Yellow region. Now you say that they disobeyed you? Do you still know what humanity is? Lady Xuanmiao scolded coldly. Humanity! Swoosh! When she said this, Wang Kai's pupils shrank. He suddenly turned around and stared at her coldly. He sneered softly, Humanity? Since ancient times, the cultivation world has always been about life and death. Everyone is fighting with their lives. If I leave a way out for others, who will leave a way out for me? Do you think that the cultivation world is a peaceful world? Where is there no difference in status? Where is there no difference in status? Since this is the case, why should I be merciful to those who speak righteously but do things insidiously and despicably? Moreover, what I am doing now is to destroy the Life and Death Star. After that, I will change the order of the Yellow region. If anyone tries to be special, they can all wait to die. Wang Kai, who had originally thought that it was a joke, was now really angry. After all, it was impossible to change the law of the high and low. As long as there was life, even if they started from scratch, they would slowly evolve into status. This was a fact that could not be changed. Wang Kai knew that no matter what he did, he would not be able to change the laws of the Yellow region. Therefore, he decided to change it by force. Bastard! Trash from the periphery! How dare you come to the Life and Death Star? You can only atone for your crimes with death. Suddenly, as the old man's voice sounded, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows, shrugged his shoulders, and sneered disdainfully. Did you hear that? He wants my life, and he even said that Ben Shao is trash in the outer circle. What's the point of living for such a person? After Wang Kai finished speaking, a blue stellar source power was flicked out by his finger and blasted the old man's body into pieces. It turned into a rain of blood and sprinkled down. You, seeing this, even though Xuanmiao Empress was furious, she was speechless. Indeed, if Wang Kai had not done so, he would have been the one to die. Even so, Xuanmiao Empress would not change her path. An expert should have the dignity of an expert. How could he kill at will? This Star Lord. At this moment, the guards who had followed the old man were also stunned. They were stunned on the spot and did not dare to move for a long while. They had never thought that the person who had come to make trouble would be so powerful. With a flick of his finger, he had killed the Star Lord, a third-grade Star King. Star Lord? You call him Star Lord? TSK. Is he the ruler of the Star Lord? Haha, he is so weak. How dare he be the Star Lord? Hurry up and be reincarnated. Wang Kai waved his hand and laughed disdainfully. Faced with this, the guards did not dare to be angry, nor did they dare to say anything. They were afraid that Wang Kai would kill them next. In front of powerful strength, they could only choose to lower their head. Seeing this, Wang Kai was even more disdainful. He pointed at the guards and said sarcastically, "Did you see that? If Ben Shao was weak, they would have flaunted their strength and tried countless ways to kill Ben Shao. Unfortunately, Ben Shao is so strong that they have to lower their heads and kneel down to admit their mistakes." Whoosh! Before Wang Kai could say anything, the guards had already knelt down in the air and said in unison, "Senior, please spare our lives. Spare our lives." Bastard! Buzz! Rumble! In an instant, Xuanmiao Empress could no longer hold back her anger. She waved her hand and killed the guards on the spot. Wang Kai, you have your Tao and I have mine. Once the evil spirit is broken, We will have nothing to do with each other, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and sneered disdainfully. You make it sound like Ben Shao wants to help you break the evil spirit. Go back and play by yourself. Ben Shao has no time to help you. Xuanmiao Empress's eyes turned cold. She stared at Wang Kai for a long time and sighed. I misspoke. I hope you don't. Wait, I can help you. However, there is one more condition. Since you care so much about the survival of the starry sky of the Yellow region, you have to pay a price. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and interrupted her with a smile. It had to be said that Wang Kai admired Xuanmiao Empress. She was too righteous. Even in her anger, she could lower her head and apologize to him. However, Wang Kai was unwilling to accept a reward after a slap in the face. What condition? Xuanmiao Empress frowned and asked indifferently. She had no other choice. If she had not been too angry, how could she have fallen to the point where Wang Kai asked for a condition? It's very simple. From now on, you will be Ben Shao's maid. You have to stay by Ben Shao's side for 1,000 years. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said with a teasing smile. Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, Lady Mysterious Meow's beautiful eyes were dazed and her delicate body suddenly froze. 1,000 years. She would be his maid. Even Xuanmiao Empress could not accept such a condition. She had never thought of it before. Xuanmiao Empress, who was famous in the starry sky of the Yellow region, would never think of being someone's maid for 1,000 years. What? You don't want to? If you don't want to, the starry sky of the Yellow region may be wiped out by the evil spirit even without Ben Shao's help. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said with a faint smile. He wanted to see how long her righteousness and so-called strength could last. Okay. I promise you. Suddenly, just when Wang Kai thought that she would definitely turn hostile, he heard her nod in agreement. Although her expression was extremely cold, her eyes were extremely cold, but she still agreed. Swear to the starry sky god. Wang Kai, who had recovered from his shock, squinted his eyes, pointed to the starry sky and laughed softly. Without any hesitation, Xuanmiao Empress swore an oath to starry sky god. Furthermore, what he said was exactly what Wang Kai had asked him to say. In 1,000 years, this young master will get rid of this bad habit of yours. You should rejoice. If it were anyone else, this young master would have killed them long ago. Trying to play justice in front of this young master, playing with the dignity of the strong, is purely courting death. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather disdainful expression. Chapter 841. Heavens! Who are those people on that warship? They are so powerful. Even the Life and Death Star Lord has fallen. How are we going to enter the core star field? We have prepared for hundreds of years to enter the core star field. Are we going to fail at the last hurdle? We have been preparing for 1,700 years. As the warship of Wang Kai and the others sped towards the Life and Death Star, many cultivators shook their heads and sighed, looking worried. With the death of the Life and Death Star Lord, the Life and Death Star had no leader. How were they going to compete? Furthermore, with such a big commotion, even the core star field would be shaken, right? Even the core star field would have to pay attention to experts who could kill the Life and Death Star Lord. Do you know how many people's dreams you have destroyed? The Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Wang Kai, who was lying on the bench, smiled casually when he heard that. Naturally, he could hear the sighs and disappointment of those cultivators. However, what was done was done. If he regretted it, wouldn't he be slapping himself in the face? As the saying went, one should not turn back until they hit the wall. However, for Wang Kai, it was the same as knocking down the wall. Their dreams are nothing more than an illusion created by the core star field. They all think that they will be superior after entering the core star field. Unfortunately, Ben Shao likes to beat up the strong. Ben Shao really doesn't have the time to care about the weak. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a calm expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a rank 8 star lord. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 100 star source points. Hearing that, the Xuanmiao Empress frowned slightly and did not dare to say anything more. After all, she had become Wang Kai's personal maidservant. Furthermore, she had to serve him in bed. 1,000 years of servitude and an oath to the god of the starry sky was a fact that could not be changed. If he went against Wang Kai and angered him, he would not be able to bear the consequences. Or rather, Xuanmiao Empress was constantly in a state of fear. She was afraid that Wang Kai would be interested in her and sully her. Although there was an oath, and she was just a maid, Xuanmiao Empress still had some thoughts of resistance in her heart. Master, we're already above the life and death star. Do you want to go down and show off? Fatso Lu patted his big belly. When he laughed, he looked like a big-bellied Maitreya Buddha. He was quite happy. At the same time, Lu Tian was also winking with interest. He'd simply experienced too much in the outer realm, and being hunted down and even bullied was a common occurrence. After all, star sources and star guards were the lowest-level cultivators in the outer realm. They were lucky to be able to survive until now. Now that they were reunited with Wang Kai, they had a strong backing. If they did not show off and vent their depression, how could they face themselves? Birds of a feather flock together. This saying is indeed true. Xuanmiao Empress glanced at them indifferently and sneered. Wang Kai loved to brag and show off. He was even more narcissistic and frivolous. Similarly, Fatso Lu, Lu Tian, and the others were not easy to deal with. You've already become the master's personal maidservant. What right do you have to criticize us? No matter what, we're still the master's brothers. Watch your words. Green Ghost snorted disdainfully. At this moment, Red Ghost also interjected, That's right. The responsibility of a personal maidservant is to take care of the master's nightlife and make him happy. Why are you competing with us? Impudent. Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes froze when she heard this. Her expression was frosty as she waved her hand. Patter. However, before she could release her star source power, Wang Kai raised his hand and pinched her in midair. They're right. What you need to do now is to serve and take care of Ben Shao. Don't say anything that you shouldn't say. Also, don't touch my brothers. Otherwise, Ben Shao will take you immediately. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a mocking smile. Xuanmiao Empress's delicate body stiffened when she heard this. Her beautiful eyes flashed with fear. She pursed her lips and could only nod silently without daring to speak. It was only now that she truly understood that she had angered Wang Kai. Otherwise, she would not have fallen to such a state of being despised. However, Xuanmiao Empress did not regret it. Everyone had their own way. How could she change just because she wanted to? Lon, have you ever done that with a man, sleeping in the bridal chamber? Wang Kai shrugged and asked faintly. Ah. Swoosh. Lan Lan's beautiful face turned red when she heard this. Her jade-like hands pinched the corner of her clothes. She lowered her head and said shyly, No, if the mansion master wants. Ben Shao did not mean that. If you have experience, you can teach Xuanmiao Empress well, and let her know how to please a man. For example, various positions and which position is more comfortable, but since you don't know, forget it. Wang Kai waved his hand and said helplessly. Oh, Lan lowered her head and pursed her lips. There was a slight disappointment in her beautiful eyes. Mansion master, I understand. I'm willing to serve. Suddenly, Lu Tian's adopted sister, by Bone Ghost King, stepped forward. Her mature figure swayed as she bowed to Wang Kai. F***ck. You know? You have experience? By Bone Ghost King suddenly exclaimed, his face full of shock. At the same time, Lu Tian was also greatly shocked. His eyes were almost popping out of their sockets as he exclaimed loudly, "You, fourth sister, you're not a virgin, ah. Brother Lu, I haven't experienced that kind of thing yet. But after living for so many years, I know a lot." The middle-aged woman said shyly. Oh. Lu Tian heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. He patted his chest and his eyes were full of joy. By Bone Ghost King was extremely jealous. He glanced at Lu Tian coldly and sneered disdainfully, "If you're a virgin, don't worry. If you're not, what are you going to do?" "Bullshit. I didn't think so much. But you're always thinking about fourth sister. You're really a ghost cultivator," Lu Tian retorted angrily. Seeing this scene, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He didn't need to think to understand that these two fellows were interested in the middle-aged woman. "Okay, stop arguing. What's your name?" Wang Kai waved his hand and turned to look at the middle-aged woman. "Mansion Master, my surname is Fang and my name is Chioha," the middle-aged woman hurriedly said respectfully. "Fang Chioha?" Wang Kai nodded slightly and pointed to Xuanmiao Empress. He smiled faintly and said, "I'll leave her to you. You must teach her how to please men in the shortest time possible. Do you understand?" Chapter 842. "Yes, but Estate Master, is this senior?" Fang Chioha bowed slightly, her eyes filled with hesitation. A powerhouse like the Xuanmiao Empress, though not as ridiculously strong as Wang Kai, was still not someone that anyone could defeat. At least in the Yellow region, there were only a handful of people who could suppress her. If she angered Xuanmiao Empress during the lesson, wouldn't she be killed on the spot? She wouldn't even have the chance to ask for help. After all, Fang Chioha didn't think that Xuanmiao Empress could handle the teaching of men and women. Even Lu Tian and White Bone Ghost King had worried looks in their eyes. They were naturally afraid of the same thing as Fang Chioha. Wang Kai naturally understood. He reached out and pulled Xuanmiao Empress, who was resisting strongly, to his side. He said lightly, "Do you understand what Ben Shao wants to say to you?" "I understand. I will listen to her teaching patiently," Xuanmiao Empress said with a sullen face. "How dare you? You should call yourself a servant. Who allowed you to call yourself a empress? Whose empress are you? Who is your subordinate here?" Suddenly, before Wang Kai could speak, the green ghost and red ghost looked at each other and scolded at the same time. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and glanced at them with admiration. With these two clowns around, no matter how sharp Xuanmiao Empress's thorns were, they would be smoothed out one day. This servant understands." Xuanmiao Empress pursed her red lips, and a layer of mist appeared in her beautiful eyes. However, she held it in and didn't let it fall. When had Xuanmiao Empress suffered such grievances? It would be better to say that she had never been wronged in the slightest. Now, she had to call herself a servant and was ordered to learn how to please men. If she didn't need Wang Kai's help, Xuanmiao Empress would really choose to commit suicide. "It's good that you know. Go ahead." Wang Kai nodded and said indifferently. Then, under Fang Chioha's lead, Lady Xuanmiao followed her into the cabin. As for what would happen inside, no one knew. Other than Wang Kai, no one dared to look. "You two brats are quite bold. When Xuanmiao Empress becomes the mistress one day, let's see if you will still have a good life." Lu Tian grinned and gloated at their misfortune. Fatso Lu also shook his big belly and said with a laugh, "Don't say that. The two brothers are taking an unconventional path. Who can guarantee that Xuanmiao Empress won't turn things around?" Although his words sounded like he was helping the green ghost and red ghost out of their predicament, everyone present knew that Fatso Lu was mocking them secretly. After all, everyone could see that the chances of Xuanmiao Empress turning the tables were simply too high. The current situation was nothing more than Wang Kai's deliberate attempt to tame her. What do you know? The intelligence of us two brothers has already exceeded your imagination. Green Ghost snorted disdainfully. That's right. The tricks we've played are longer than you. Red Ghost chimed in. Lu Tian and Fatty Lu glanced at each other when faced with this, and they felt extreme disdain in their hearts. They were looking forward to the day when they would make a fool of themselves. Go down and show off. Ben Shao is a little tired, so he won't go. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled faintly. Yang Wei will definitely be the first to fight. Buzz. Swoosh. Suddenly, Yang Wei, who had been silent, laughed loudly and stood up. He turned and leaped into the air, directly flying into the Life and Death Star. At the same time, Gold One and the Green Ghost and Red Ghost also followed closely behind. In the end, White Bone Ghost King was unwilling to be left behind and also flashed away. Mansion Master, you have to have a good rest. Lu Tian left a meaningful sentence and turned around to jump off the warship. Fatso Lu patted his big belly and winked at the direction of the cabin, then glanced at Wang Kai. Without saying a word, he jumped off the warship with an inexplicable smile. Mansion Master, I also have to go down and show off? Lon Lon said with a blushing face. She knew that as a girl it was inappropriate to say such words. However, in order to please Wang Kai, she could only grit her teeth and say it. You don't have to. You already have it. Why do you still want to show off? Take a rest here. Ben Shao, find a room to sleep. When they come back, inform me in advance. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a casual smile. Then, Wang Kai stood up and pretended to stretch lazily. He yawned and walked toward the cabin. I already have it. Mansion Master is so naughty. Lon Lon smiled shyly, and a strange light flashed in her beautiful eyes. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had just entered the cabin, suddenly stopped in his tracks. He was no longer swaggering, but tiptoeing. Due to the system, neither Fang Qiuhe nor Xuanmiao Princess could discover Wang Kai. Or rather, even without the system, with Wang Kai's current cultivation, no one in the starry sky of the Yellow region would be able to discover him. Senior, you can't do this. When you see the Mansion Master, you have to take the initiative. If there is no one around, you can take the initiative to sit on the Mansion Master's lap and hug his neck. Then, slowly, and finally, tightly, pretend to inadvertently stick to the Mansion Master. When Wang Kai walked to the door of a room, he heard the words of instruction coming from inside. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes lit up. If that was the case, there would be a different kind of flirtatious feeling. At the very least, if a pure and cold female monarch like Xuanmiao Princess could do such a thing, wouldn't it be very satisfying? Would it be very exciting? Just thinking about it made Wang Kai's blood boil. It had to be said that this Fang Qiuhe really had some skills. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly praised her. He couldn't help but release his divine sense to spy on everything in the room. Qiuhe, give her something fierce. Let her take off all the obstructions on her body first. Wang Kai, who was suddenly interested, couldn't help but secretly send a voice transmission. Fang Qiuhe, who was still teaching, heard this voice transmission and her beautiful eyes flashed. She pretended that nothing had happened and nodded. She smiled and said, Senior, it seems that this matter is still very difficult for you. Let's move on to the next segment. First, let's remove the obstructions, cough cough, let's remove the clothes first. Remove the clothes? Hearing this, Xuanmiao Princess's beautiful eyes suddenly froze. Her face was cold as she said in a deep voice, What do you want to teach? Why do I have to remove the clothes? Can't it be done just like this? Chapter 843. Why did she have to take off her clothes? Of course, someone wanted to see. As for what to teach, even Fang Qiuhe was not sure. She was supposed to teach Xuanmiao Empress how to please men. But now, Wang Kai's sudden order made Fang Qiuhe extremely helpless. Xuanmiao Empress's aura turned cold, and for a moment, she did not know what to do. As a subordinate, I must complete the task that the palace master has entrusted me with. What I'm asking you to do now is naturally something that you should understand. Fang Qiuhe braced herself and said softly. She was afraid that Xuanmiao Empress would really get angry. I should understand? Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes flickered. She could not help but recall the first time she met Wang Kai. At that time, didn't he ask her to take off her clothes and look everywhere? Xuanmiao Empress, who did not know that Wang Kai was secretly instructing her, was certain of her thoughts. She frowned and said indifferently, "If it's about this, I don't need you to teach me. Tell me something I don't understand." Tell you something I don't understand? Hearing this, Fang Qiuhe was stunned. What did she mean by telling you something you don't understand? She said it as if you understand, but even she did not understand. Senior, what do you understand? Fang Qiuhe asked curiously. Whoosh! Xuanmiao Empress's expression suddenly turned cold. She stared at her coldly and said, "Are you mocking me?" "No. I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare." Fang Qiuhe was full of questions, but she did not dare to be forceful. Even though Wang Kai had warned her to listen to her, she did not dare to go overboard. "Is there nothing else to teach?" Xuanmiao Empress asked indifferently. If it were not for Wang Kai's threat, why would she follow Fang Qiuhe here? Xuanmiao Empress could be said to be in an abyss of suffering. She could not wait to kill herself. This. Fang Qiuhe's face stiffened and her eyes were flustered. She kept looking at the door from the corner of her eyes. For a moment she did not know what to do. Wang Kai's sudden appearance had disrupted her rhythm. If she doesn't take it off, I'll ask her to spank herself. Teach her and give her a demonstration. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly transmitted his voice with a smile. Whoosh! Hearing this, Fang Qiuhe's face instantly turned red. Teaching Xuanmiao Empress wasn't a big deal, but why did she have to demonstrate it to her? Helpless, Fang Qiuhe didn't dare to secretly send a voice transmission to Wang Kai. After all, his cultivation level was not as high as Xuanmiao Empress. Once he transmitted his voice, he would definitely be exposed. What are you hesitating for? If not, then let's go out. Mysterious Empress said calmly. Yes. Let's learn how to spank cough, but... Fang Qiuhe blushed and said in a slightly flustered tone. Spanking? Whoosh! Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress's face turned green. The air around her seemed to have been frozen. It was bone-chilling. Yes, that's right, Pa. Immediately, Fang Qiuhe braced herself and slapped her butt. If not for her helplessness, she really wanted to find a hole to hide in. Bastard! I don't have time to fool around with you here. Xuanmiao Empress snorted coldly. Immediately, she put her hands behind her back and walked quickly to the door. Seeing this, Wang Kai was so frightened that his heart jumped violently. He quickly tore open the void and entered in a flash. Bang! After Xuanmiao Empress left and the door was closed, Wang Kai patted his chest and walked out with a look of pity. Mansion master, it's my fault. Fang Qiuhe walked out of the room and bowed. Her face was full of self-blame. Forget it. It's okay. Hearing this, Wang Kai grinned. Looking at her blushing face, he felt a little embarrassed. He waved his hand and quickly left. If he wanted Xuanmiao Empress to completely fall, there was still a long way to go. It was simply impossible for them to be forceful. With Xuanmiao Empress's personality, she would probably fight to the death. At that time, wouldn't the gains make up for the losses? On the deck of the warship, Xuanmiao Empress looked around at the empty surroundings and her beautiful eyes suddenly froze. Ahem, how did you come out so quickly? Did you learn everything? The void was torn open and Wang Kai walked out. With his hands behind his back, He looked at her with a serious face and said, "Where did you go just now?" Xuanmiao Empress frowned and a cold look flashed in her eyes. As smart as she was, she already felt that something was wrong, and Wang Kai's pretense of being serious made her feel extremely uncoordinated. Moreover, Fang Qiuhe suddenly asked her to take off her clothes and spanked her butt. It was simply too strange. "Do I have to report to you where Ben Shao goes? Don't forget your current status. Come here and massage Ben Shao's shoulders." Wang Kai shrugged and leaned back on the bench with a faint smile. "You." Xuanmiao Empress was extremely annoyed, but she had no other choice. She could only purse her red lips and walk behind Wang Kai like a robot. She stretched out her jade hands and began to massage him stiffly. Not bad, not bad. You must have been a servant in your previous life." Wang Kai squinted his eyes and praised her. Crack. F*CKU. Plop. Xuanmiao Empress suddenly became angry and increased her strength. It was so painful that the veins on Wang Kai's forehead bulged. He cursed loudly and fell off the bench. "Master, are you all right?" "Master." When Lan Lan saw this, she hurriedly went forward to support him, and then intimately unbuttoned Wang Kai's clothes. Looking at his red shoulder that was starting to turn purple, her eyes immediately turned red, and she sobbed softly, "How could you be so ruthless? Oh, Miss Fang said that when massaging my shoulders I should increase my strength appropriately. It's just that this is my first time doing this, so I didn't control it well. Master, please don't blame me." Xuanmiao Empress blinked her beautiful eyes and pretended to smile innocently. However, she was secretly very happy. Whoosh! Fang Qiuhe, who had just walked onto the deck, looked at Wang Kai with a wronged expression. However, she did not dare to expose him. After all, no matter who it was, she could not afford to offend either of them. Well, you didn't control your strength well." Wang Kai's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and glared at her. He turned around and lay on the bench. He frowned and sneered, Go and dance for Ben Shao. If you don't dance well, I'll immediately consummate with you. With your cultivation, it would be difficult for you to resist even if you wanted to." In an instant, Xuanmiao Empress's heart fell to the bottom. The joy she felt earlier disappeared in the blink of an eye and was replaced by endless despair. Indeed, it was too easy for Wang Kai, who was a star venerate, to control her. Even if she wanted to die, it would be a fool's dream. What are you still standing there for? Why aren't you starting? Haha, looks like you really want to do that with Ben Shao. Sigh, Ben Shao can understand your difficulties. Who asked Ben Shao to be so charming and elegant? Wang Kai shrugged and sighed emotionally. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Chapter 844. Shameless bastard. Xuanmiao Empress scolded coldly. She turned around and walked into the starry sky with her long white dress. She began to dance. Although Xuanmiao Empress could not accept those dirty things, she was still very good at dancing. As the famous Xuanmiao Empress of the Yellow Domain, not only was her cultivation awe-inspiring, but her beauty and dancing skills were also one of the best. So beautiful, Lan Lan and Fang Qiuhe looked at Xuanmiao Empress dancing in the starry sky. Their eyes were filled with infatuation and worship as they murmured softly. At this moment, Wang Kai was no exception. Although he had not seen many women dance, Xuanmiao Empress's dance was definitely the most beautiful in the extraterritorial realm. She, who was already a peerless beauty, was accompanied by her frosty temperament. Her white dress fluttered as she flickered back and forth behind the starry sky. Every movement and every expression was perfect, making people intoxicated and absent-minded. Today's dance asks about life and death. The great Tao of the 3,000 Yellowlands fight. The extraterritorial realm sings with Xuanmiao Empress. The journey of the starry sky is peaceful. If we talk about love, the beauty can't resist. Stepping on the stars and dancing in the wind and clouds. Looking at Xuanmiao Empress's peerless beauty, Wang Kai could not help but be interested. He flipped his hand and took out a folding fan. He opened it with a click, and while shaking it, he also improvised a poem. Whoosh! However, when Wang Kai's voice fell, Xuanmiao Empress stopped dancing. Fang Qiuhe and Lan Lan also turned their eyes and stared at him. No one would have thought that Wang Kai had such a side to him. Today, in the sky above the life and death star, he danced and lamented the impermanence of the great Tao. Cultivators were all competing with each other, but no one knew who would be buried first. Stepping into the extraterritorial realm, he was lucky enough to be accompanied by Xuanmiao Empress. They sang and danced together. Wasn't it a joyous journey to the extraterritorial realm? But if they wanted to talk about love in twos and threes, the helpless thing was that the beautiful woman's heart was only thinking about other things. She set the dance as her own matter, like an obsession, to express her helpless feelings at this moment. Although Wang Kai's poem was extremely simple and could not be considered elegant, the mood and thoughts it expressed were clear to the women, and they were deeply moved by it. It seems that my guess was right. Senior Lady Xuanmiao's obsession is too deep. Her Tao is righteous, but the manor head is free and unrestrained. He rarely considers the big picture, but he still wants to pursue Lady Xuanmiao. The two Taos are like fire and water. Fang Qiuhe sighed inwardly. Fortunately, she did not use any harsh teaching methods on Xuanmiao Empress. Otherwise, if she angered her, even if she was fine for now, there would be a day when she really became Wang Kai's wife. At that time, wouldn't she be asking for trouble? You have the nerve to show off such a simple poem, Xuanmiao Empress said coldly, then turned around and stepped into the air. No one noticed that the moment Xuanmiao Empress turned around, panic flashed in her beautiful eyes. No one knew how complicated her feelings were at this moment. Damn, so what if it's simple? As long as Benshao likes it, it's the best poem. As long as Benshao is willing, the entire universe, no matter where Benshao is, will have to call Benshao the #1 poet. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted with disdain. He was extremely unhappy in his heart. It was not easy for him to have the mood to improvise a poem and show off, but Xuanmiao Empress made him suffer. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade Celestial Lord realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade. You've received 100 celestial sources. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm, 9th grade Celestial Lord title, unparalleled bragging, shaking the universe star technique, Karma Great Tao technique star technique, nun identification, torch dragon eye equipment, starry sky tyrant, sky halberd star power, level 7 celestial sources, 2060 physique, invulnerable guardian beast, Sun Wukong bragging points, 160000 experience. 0300000000. Upon hearing the prompt, Wang Kai raised his brows slightly and glanced at it casually before using his mind to close it. He did not care about the additional 10 million experience points. It was the same every time. He was just bragging one more time. However, Wang Kai really wanted to know what the next realm was. Host, when you reach the last realm of the 10-star realm, the system will enter the update period. During this period, you will not receive any help from the system. Remember to be careful. Whoosh! As the prompt sounded, Wang Kai's expression suddenly froze. Update period? What does that mean? No help from the system? What does that mean? Host, if you die during the system update period, you will truly die. During the update period, you will not receive any help for the advancement of your realm. All functions of the system will be shut down. If the host can persevere until the system update is completed, you will enter the next new era. If the system is shut down, I won't be able to revive from a drop of blood? I won't be able to exchange for magical treasures and other divine artifacts? I'll also lose the ability to ignore restrictions? Or even have any functions? Upon hearing the prompt, Wang Kai's face turned as sullen as ink and he gritted his teeth. If possible, he really wanted to crush the system. New era? What's that? Wang Kai asked in a deep voice with a dark face. Host, the new era represents the pinnacle of the universe. If you can rely on the updated system to ascend to the pinnacle, you will become the second master of chaos. You will be in control of all the worlds, and the cycle of life and death will be within your control. Whoosh! As the prompt disappeared, Wang Kai was already stunned. He would never have thought that the so-called system update was actually an even more powerful storm the night before. If he could survive the storm, he would achieve supreme immortality. The second master of chaos, the pinnacle of the universe, the new era. Although Wang Kai was still in a state of confusion, he could only understand one thing. Damn it. Looks like I have to prepare in advance. Otherwise, once the system enters the update period, won't I be doomed? Wang Kai frowned and thought to himself. After losing the functions of the system, he would have to rely on himself for everything. This was undoubtedly the biggest test for Wang Kai. However, Wang Kai also understood that even after the update period, he would not be able to reach the pinnacle of the universe and become the master of chaos immediately. When that time came, he would have to rely on the updated system to continue bragging and bragging to become the strongest. How long will the update period last? Wang Kai, who understood everything, asked the most crucial question with a serious expression. 1 year. 1 year. F***ck. Can't you let this young master who is so cool and arrogant that he can blow up the heavens live? Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. If it was just a few days, then it would be better. But for the past year, based on his personality, even if he didn't want to cause trouble, even he didn't believe in himself. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Chapter 845. However, he still had a long way to go before he reached the peak of the 10th star realm. Now, he had only reached the 7th realm. Thinking of this, Wang Kai felt relieved. There was enough time for him to prepare and deal with the crisis when the time came. Mansion Master, what's wrong? Seeing Wang Kai's face turning hot and cold, shocked and relaxed, Lan Lan and Fang Qiuhe felt something was wrong. It's nothing. I'm just lamenting the passing of time. It made Ben Xiao inadvertently recall the time when he was young and inexperienced. I vaguely remember that Ben Xiao at that time was extremely handsome. He was simply popular in the world. Everyone bowed down to him and demons kowtowed to him. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back, shook his head and sighed again and again. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Lan Lan and Fang Qiuhe's face stiffened. Their beautiful eyes looked at Wang Kai in a daze. For a moment, they didn't know how to respond. What he said was too unpleasant to listen to. Wang Kai, if you let them continue like this, I'm afraid the life and death star will disappear. As Xuanmiao Empress's indifferent voice came slowly, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He couldn't help but release his spirit consciousness into the life and death star. The scene he saw was Fatty Lu, Lu Tian, and the others fighting with all the cultivators on the life and death star. Surprisingly, none of the cultivators above the Star Guard realm joined the battle. This allowed the cultivators to fight with each other to their heart's content. And those cultivators with extremely high cultivation were watching from the side. It's just some Star Guards fighting. How can they destroy the life and death star? Besides, if they have the ability, Ben Shao would be more than happy to let them destroy the life and death star. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled indifferently. Originally, he wanted to help them increase their cultivation. Otherwise, astral guards would be too weak. In the yellow domain starry sky, they were at the bottom. In the heaven domain starry sky, their status would be even lower. With their personalities, would they be able to return obediently if they won the chaotic battle between star guards? Besides, will the experts of the life and death star let them come and go as they please? Xuanmiao Empress frowned. Hearing this, Wang Kai was also stunned. He could not help but rub his nose. He looked at her in confusion and asked, "What are you trying to say?" I mean, if they continue to cause trouble, when the time comes, the experts will step in to suppress them. You, Manor Lord, will you step in as well? Xuanmiao Empress pursed her red lips and said. Although it was uncomfortable to address Wang Kai respectfully, he had no choice but to do so. After all, his life and death, honor and disgrace were all in Wang Kai's hands. Oh, you mean if Ben Shao steps in, it is very likely that he will destroy the life and death star? Wang Kai suddenly twisted his eyebrows and said with a smile. Xuanmiao Empress did not say much about this, but that was what she meant. If Lu Tian and the others continued to cause trouble, Wang Kai would step in when the matter became serious. At that time, there would be a bloody storm, and it would be a one-sided massacre. TSK, you know Ben Shao very well. But it makes sense. Ben Shao is so powerful that there is no one who can match him. Since his debut, he has always been known as the strongest. It is reasonable for you to worry about the people of the life and death star. Wang Kai nodded gently and said with a smile of appreciation. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the first stage, Star Emperor Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the first stage, Star Origin Points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the first stage, Star Origin Point. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Star Warrior Realm, First Stage Star Emperor Title, Unparalleled Bragging Skills, Shaking Heaven and Earth Star Technique, Karma Dao Technique Star Technique, Nun Identification, Torch Dragon Eye Equipment, Starry Sky Tyrant, Sky Halberd Star Power, Level 8 Star Origin Points, 160 Physique, Invulnerable Guardian Beast, Sun Wukong Bragging Points, 190000 Experience, 03000000 Whoosh. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai's eyes were full of joy. Level 8 Star Power had already reached the level of the Son of the Gods. With such a cultivation level, even in the heavenly domain starry sky, he should be considered an overlord, right? He shouldn't be at the mercy of others, right? Next, it's time for the Dharma treasures, weapons, star techniques, and guardian beasts. Only by being fully prepared can I deal with any crisis. Wang Kai squinted and thought to himself. Regardless of whether it was the system update, the number of experts in the Qingyun starry sky, or even the most hateful Sky Fate Elder, Wang Kai had to make preparations in advance. Besides, even if he bragged, he could directly reach the highest level. However, even though Wang Kai had that thought in his mind, he was unable to do so. After all, once he reached the peak of the 10th star realm, the system would enter the update period. By then, no one could predict whether his cultivation level would be the strongest in the heavenly domain starry sky, and whether there would be any opponent. It would be fine if he was the strongest, but what if he wasn't? It would be better to leave the various powerful functions of the system to deal with unexpected situations. At least, he had to figure out the situation in the heavenly domain starry sky before he could decide whether to brag to the strongest level. Let them make a fuss down there. If anyone dares to suppress them with their cultivation level, Xuanmiao, go down and help them. Remember, don't let my brothers suffer any grievances, not at all. Wang Kai said with a serious expression. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai tore the void and disappeared under Xuanmiao's angry gaze. In the void, Wang Kai sat cross-legged and squinted his eyes. He activated his mind and said, if I want to upgrade the heavenly halberd to the strongest level, how many bragging points would I need? Host, the strongest level in the extraterritorial region is the sovereign divine weapon. If you want to forcefully upgrade it in the heavenly domain starry sky, with your current cultivation level, you will need to spend 1 million bragging points. Sovereign divine weapon. 1 million bragging points to upgrade it. Hiss, hearing the notification, Wang Kai took a deep breath. His current bragging points were only 190,000. It was impossible for him to raise it to the highest level. What if I upgrade it to the same level as Benxiao's cultivation level? Wang Kai frowned. He could only settle for the next best thing. Host, if you want to upgrade it to the sovereign divine weapon, with your current cultivation level, you will only need to spend 100,000 bragging points. 100,000. Wang Kai's eyes flickered. 100,000 was not a lot. If I upgrade it to the sovereign divine weapon, when Benxiao steps into the heavenly domain starry sky, can it be upgraded again? Wang Kai activated his mind and asked. Host, the heavenly halberd can be upgraded infinitely. As the prompt disappeared, Wang Kai's brows relaxed. He smiled faintly and said, upgrade the halberd to Star Emperor level. Chapter 846. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the heavenly halberd to an emperor weapon. A total of 100,000 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. As the notification sounded out, a golden halberd appeared beside Wang Kai, shining with a dazzling golden light. The heavenly halberd was as tall as a man. A terrifying aura surrounded the body of the heavenly halberd as if it could destroy the world. Damn it! It's just a weapon. Why are you trying to act tough? Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted in disdain. He then kept the heavenly halberd. Host, if you can implant a weapon spirit into the heavenly halberd, it will be upgraded by another level. At the same time, another 100,000 bragging points will be consumed. Swoosh. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai frowned. His face darkened as he snorted, scamming me again? Damn it. Benxiao, how many bragging points would it take to upgrade the heavenly halberd without implanting a weapon spirit into it? Host, 500,000 bragging points are required. 500,000. Are you giving Benxiao benefits? Wang Kai curled his lips. He thought that the system was trying to scam him. Who would have thought that it would be so cheap? Do you have a weapon spirit with you? Host, there is a heavenly devouring beast in the system. You were the one who placed it in the system. If you can turn it into a weapon spirit, not only will it upgrade the heavenly halberd, it will also gain a special ability to devour the energy of others. Swoosh. Hearing these notifications, Wang Kai's pupils suddenly shrank. No matter what, the system's current actions and notifications were completely helping him become stronger. Could it be that the system was worried that he would die during the update period? In the past, the system had never done such a thing. Heavenly devouring beast. Cough cough. I was so busy that I forgot about it. Wang Kai rubbed his nose awkwardly. He then waved his hand and released the heavenly devouring beast from the system. Yaya. Damn you! You've been holding back for so long and you didn't even let me consume the energy of the heavens. Now you remember me. Are you tired of living? F***ck your mother. The little white beast kept jumping around with a tender female voice while cursing while wagging its tail, causing Wang Kai's lips to twitch slightly. He had to admit that this little white beast didn't learn anything else, but the catchphrase that it had picked up while following him around was really on point. What era is it now? Who would still want to consume the power of the heavens? If you want to eat it, you should eat the star source energy that is even more awesome than heaven's energy. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled disdainfully. As for the matter of forgetting it, he didn't mention it at all and directly changed the topic. Regarding this, the heaven-swallowing beast was also very innocent. After cursing for a while, it seemed to have forgotten about it. It widened its big watery eyes in surprise and asked immaturely, "What is star source energy? Is that all?" "Ao. One." Suddenly, under Wang Kai's astonished gaze, the heaven-devouring beast opened its mouth wide and swallowed more than half of the astral origin power drifting in the void in one gulp. Moreover, its originally white fur turned blue in an instant. It was like a blue ball with a tail. Even its pupils had turned blue. It was quite eye-catching. Star Source Realm? It can reach Star Source Realm in an instant? Wang Kai looked at it in a daze. He was quite surprised when he sensed its current aura. Host, the ability of the heaven-swallowing beast is extremely rare. It is probably the only one in the universe. If you can turn it into an artifact spirit, you will have powerful instincts that others can't have. The ability to devour the energy of others? Wang Kai frowned slightly when he heard the notification. Indeed, if he turned the heaven-swallowing beast into the artifact spirit of the heavenly halberd, it would allow the heavenly halberd to devour the enemy's energy while it was attacking. At that time, the enemy's energy would be constantly depleted, and he would be able to achieve a great victory. Is there any danger in turning it into an artifact spirit? Wang Kai asked with a frown. Host, there won't be any danger. As it devours energy, its cultivation will increase rapidly. Wang Kai's frown eased when he heard that. He looked at the heaven-swallowing beast and said softly, "Little White, do you want to become its artifact spirit?" Wang. As he spoke, the heavenly halberd was taken out by Wang Kai with a flip of his hand. Yeah. What are the benefits? The heaven-swallowing beast glanced at the heavenly halberd and asked Wang Kai with an innocent look. The benefits are that you can stay by Benshio's side at all times. You can reach the strongest level in the universe, and you can eat whatever you want whenever you want. Wang Kai smiled faintly as he narrowed his eyes. Yeah. I don't care if I'm by your side or not. However, this is the last time I'll trust you. If you still forget about me, I'll definitely leave you," the heaven-swallowing beast said with disdain. After reaching the Star Source realm, its intelligence had increased a lot, and it was able to understand the pros and cons. However, if it became the artifact spirit of the heavenly halberd, it wouldn't be easy for it to leave. Wang Kai couldn't help but shake his head. He looked at the heaven-swallowing beast and said softly, "Don't worry, Ben Shao will definitely satisfy your appetite this time. You can also accompany Ben Shao to kill all the strong enemies, stain the universe with blood, and make all living things tremble with a single word. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Yeah. I like it when you're bragging. Let's begin." The heaven-swallowing beast swayed its blue, lightning-like tail and smiled with admiration. Black lines appeared on Wang Kai's forehead upon hearing this. He had never expected to be praised by a heaven-devouring beast. Transforming the weapon into an artifact spirit. Congratulations to the host for successfully transforming the heaven-swallowing beast into an artifact spirit. A total of 50,000 bragging points have been spent. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the heavenly halberd to the level of a divine weapon. Buzz. Suddenly, a golden light flashed. The heaven-swallowing beast was covered by the golden light and brought into the heavenly halberd. In an instant, the heavenly halberd's aura was completely retracted. It looked and felt like an ordinary weapon. Even a weapon can return to its original state. Wang Kai sighed and grabbed the heavenly halberd. He smiled faintly and said, "Ben Shao will carry you with him from now on." Patter. Then, the heavenly halberd was held horizontally by Wang Kai's back. "TSK, aren't you afraid of scratching others when you carry me like this?" Her voice has changed. Wang Kai was stunned. The voice that was supposed to be young and tender had now become very mature, like an experienced female cultivator. "It's still far from the end. Don't doubt that it won't end until it reaches 3 million words." Chapter 847. Of course. Seems like you didn't lie to me. After becoming an artifact spirit, my cultivation level has already reached the star god level, the same as the heavenly halberd. As the voice of the heaven-swallowing beast sounded, Wang Kai was immediately stunned and his eyes were full of jealousy. At first, it was still at the star source level, but after becoming an artifact spirit, it actually reached the same level as the heavenly halberd. However, it made sense after thinking about it. The artifact spirit and artifact spirit were originally one, so it was only natural for them to reach the same level. That also proved that, as long as he upgraded the level of the heavenly halberd, the artifact spirit's cultivation level would also increase. It could be said that he had won 3 times in one go. The only flaw is that I don't seem to be able to take the initiative to attack. I can only passively defend and attack when others touch the heavenly halberd, the heaven-swallowing beast muttered in displeasure. Hearing this, Wang Kai pursed his lips, not surprised at all. A weapon was a weapon, and the one who took the initiative to attack was still the owner of the weapon. Besides, the heavenly halberd was given by the system. Apart from himself, no one else could pick it up. However, now that there was an external heaven-swallowing beast as an artifact spirit, Wang Kai wasn't sure if the power of the system was still there. With Ben Shao helping you to show off, what are you afraid of? If you want to hit someone, this young master will use you to hit them. Isn't that enough? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather indifferent smile. The person I want to hit the most is actually you. As the heaven-swallowing beast spoke, Wang Kai immediately frowned and was speechless. He definitely didn't expect the heaven-swallowing beast to bear a grudge against him. Didn't he just forget about it for a while? Star technique. Buzz. Wang Kai frowned and used his mind to open the system store. Looking at the star techniques, Wang Kai was speechless. There were all sorts of star techniques, from high to low, and they were indeed dazzling. A Star Emperor level star technique requires 10,000 bragging points. A Star God level star technique requires 100,000 bragging points. The strongest Dominator star technique requires 1 million bragging points. Wang Kai was speechless. Fortunately, he had reached the Star Emperor realm. Otherwise, he would have to brag a lot if he wanted to exchange for a Star Emperor level star technique. A single Astral Emperor skill costs 10,000 bragging points. A Astral God skill costs 10,000 bragging points. Astral God skill costs 10,000 bragging points, which is equivalent to 10 bragging points. Doesn't that mean Ben Shao would have to brag 100 times more bragging points for the strongest sovereign skill? Damn it. For the time being, I'll choose 3 Star Emperor skills to defend myself. 1 for attack and 1 for movement. A form of defense. 1. Under Wang Kai's careful selection, he chose 3-star Emperor level star technique. Congratulations, host, for successfully obtaining the offensive star technique, Star Emperor level, 5 Thunder Heaven covering palm. 10,000 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations, host, for successfully obtaining the bodily star technique, Star Emperor level, 1 Thought of Yin and Yang. 10,000 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations, host, for successfully obtaining the defensive star technique, Star Emperor level, body transformation into thunder and fire. 10,000 bragging points have been consumed. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm, rank 1 Star Emperor title, unparalleled bragging skills, shaking heaven and earth star technique, Karma Dao technique star technique, 5 thunder heaven covering palm, 1 thought of yin and yang, body transformation into thunder and fire. Identification, torch dragon eye equipment, starry sky tyrant, sky halberd star power, level 8 star source points, 2160 physique, invulnerable guardian beast, Sun Wukong bragging points, 20,000 experience, 100,000,000,300,000,000 inch ha? This star technique is rather interesting. It can actually use the power of Star Source to transform into a dragon and phoenix chariot? Or is it the speed and defense of a Star Emperor level? Suddenly, Wang Kai's gaze froze. After reading the explanation, he instantly fell in love with it. He immediately turned his hand and pointed at it. With a faint smile, he said, "This is it, star stepping. Congratulations, host, for successfully obtaining the Star Emperor level star technique, star stepping. 10,000 bragging points have been consumed." When everything was ready, Wang Kai stood up and waved his hand to tear open the void. Although the ones preparing now were only Star Emperor level, as long as he did not encounter star gods and the strongest dominator level powerhouses, he could still deal with them easily. Moreover, as long as he reached the heavenly domain starry sky, his realm would increase and his bragging points would increase. By then, the number of things he needed to obtain from the system would also be reduced by a lot. It could be said that as long as he was not in a hurry to become the strongest dominator-level cultivator and did not let the system enter the update period, everything would be fine. Estate Master, Lady Xuanmiao suddenly took action just now and suppressed most of the cultivators on the Life and Death Star. As soon as Wang Kai walked out of the void, Fang Qiuhe stepped forward and reported with a bow. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly and could not help but release his thoughts to take a look. He suddenly discovered that Lady Xuanmiao was sitting cross-legged in the sky above the Life and Death Star. Below her, there was a black mass of cultivators kneeling in worship. At the same time, Fatso Lu, Lu Tian, and the others were all sitting on the ground with blood all over their bodies, panting heavily. Fatso Lu, who was the weakest, even had an extremely weak aura. It was obvious that he had suffered a great injury. "Follow Benshao to take a look." Wang Kai frowned and said lightly, "Ah, Estate Master, why are you carrying a long spear on your back? Wouldn't it be better to put it away?" Lan Lan was just about to run behind Wang Kai but was stopped by the long spear. Fang Qiuhe was also speechless about this. A long spear was hung on Wang Kai's waist behind his back. There were so many spear bodies and spear tips on the left and right. Even if he walked, he would scratch others, right? Wasn't this just asking for trouble? Oh, Benshao's spear is very special. It doesn't like to be put away. It just wants to breathe in the fresh air outside. Well, let's go. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled casually. Swoosh. As soon as his voice fell, the three of them flashed out and arrived at the Life and Death Star from the void in an instant. On a high mountain, the void was torn apart. Wang Kai and the other two stepped out from it. Casually glancing at the cultivators kneeling on the ground, Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and looked at Lady Xuanmiao. He asked lightly, "What's going on?" Just as I expected, they planned to leave after a good fight. However, the administrator of the Life and Death Star didn't allow them to leave. He wanted to send them to the core star area according to the rules, but they didn't agree. At the same time, the family members who were hurt by your brothers seized the chance to attack them. As Lady Xuanmiao finished telling the story, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He looked at Fatso Lu and the others and smiled faintly. Is that so? That's right. Damn it. I really gave them some face. Fatso Lu gasped as if he had used the last of his strength. After saying that, he fell to the ground. He was extremely weak. Seeing this, Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled. He waved his hand and flicked a drop of blood essence into the bodies of Fatso Lu and the others. He turned to look at the cultivators and said lightly, "Tell me, how do you want to die?" Chapter 848. Whoosh. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Those cultivators who were suppressed by Xuanmiao Empress all looked at Wang Kai in horror. To be able to talk to Xuanmiao Empress like this, an expert who was completely in a superior position, was absolutely terrifying. Such words were undoubtedly the signal of their death. Wang Kai, just teach them a lesson. Why do you have to kill them? There are hundreds of thousands of cultivators here. You don't have to bear such a sin. Xuanmiao Empress secretly consoled him through voice transmission. She, who knew Wang Kai very well, did not dare to say it out directly. She could only secretly transmit her voice and use a pleading tone. Her tough attitude from before was obviously worn down by Wang Kai. In fact, she had to do this. After all, the current Wang Kai's cultivation was unfathomable. Xuanmiao Empress did not dare to guess how strong he was. They all attacked you? Wang Kai frowned and did not pay attention to Xuanmiao Empress. Yes, they were jealous of our powerful combat strength from the Star Source to the Star Guard realm. Those unrelated cultivators, after seeing us fall out with the cultivators who were hosting the competition, all attacked. Nonsense. They only said a few words. They did not attack you. Before Fatso Lu finished speaking, Xuanmiao Empress scolded him with a cold face. If all of them attacked, could Fatso Lu and the others survive? Wouldn't they have turned into ashes long ago? I'm afraid not even ashes would be left, right? Nonsense. After seeing us fall out with the cultivators of the Life and Death Star, this group of cultivators took the opportunity to insult us verbally. What's the difference between this and attacking us? Also, which side are you on? Green Ghost scolded with a face full of displeasure. In this regard, Red Ghost was also very displeased. Although those cultivators did not attack directly, under the situation where they were besieged, they still slandered and ridiculed them. It was indeed more abominable than attacking them. What's the point of living? Wasting the air of the star field, it's better to die. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai waved his hand, and a terrifying blue astral source power directly enveloped the hundreds of thousands of cultivators. In the blink of an eye, none of the hundreds of thousands of cultivators survived. Just like that, he disappeared into thin air. It was as if they had never existed. Seeing this scene, Fatty Lu and the others were immediately extremely shocked. They had just recovered from their injuries and were still able to stand up. However, they were so frightened that they fell to the ground. Even the Xuanmiao Empress was dumbfounded. She was speechless for a long time. No matter how strong he was, he had never seen such a strange thing. With a wave of his hand, hundreds of thousands of cultivators disappeared. Among them, there were star sources and even star kings. But even so, he still couldn't escape his misfortune. Oh my God! How powerful is the Manor Lord now? Yang Wei and the others murmured in shock, unable to suppress the intense fear in their hearts. There is a difference of a few great realms. Dying like this is too easy for them. At the very least, they won't feel any pain. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. Whoosh! Hearing this, Fatty Lu and the others looked at each other and felt a little regretful. Just now, they were just casually saying it. They didn't really want to kill all those cultivators. But who knew that Wang Kai actually had such an ability? At first, they thought that he would only suppress them and vent his anger. But with a wave of his hand, they were all gone. They were gone just like that. How can you be so vicious? The Xuanmiao Empress pursed her red lips and scolded in a stiff and cold tone. Whoosh! Wang Kai heard this and looked at her indifferently. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly and he said with a smile, "You want Ben Shao to let them go. Then Ben Shao will kill them." Hearing this, the Xuanmiao Empress came to a realization. So, it was all because of her? If she didn't plead for mercy just now, things wouldn't have turned out like this? In fact, it was exactly so. Even if those cultivators spoke rudely to Fatty Lu and the others, they didn't deserve to die. But after he came, the Xuanmiao Empress' first move was to ask him to let them go. Wang Kai was already overly righteous towards the Xuanmiao Empress. How could he let her do as she wished? They all deserved to die. Instead of learning the good things, they learned to hit people when they were down. I vaguely remember that when Ben Shao first started cultivating, there were many people who rolled their eyes and mocked him. Unfortunately, Ben Shao back then was too soft-hearted. Otherwise, how could they live? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Fatty Lu naturally understood. Not to mention the people from Royal City and Shenwu Academy, even he himself looked down on Wang Kai back then. After all, Wang Kai's previous self was a trash who could only brag but couldn't cultivate. However, Fatty Lu had tricked Wang Kai's previous self, but he had never humiliated him. Young Lord Kai is right, if we let them die now, at least they can reincarnate without suffering any pain. It's better than letting them live and wait to be killed by others. Fatty Lu patted his big belly and said carelessly. Yang Wei and the others didn't care about this at all. As cultivators, they could die at any time. The death of hundreds of thousands of cultivators wasn't much of a shock. If a war broke out in the star field, the death of a star was countless times more than hundreds of thousands of cultivators. Let's go to the Nine-Heaven star field. Wang Kai smiled indifferently with his hands behind his back. Whoosh! Hearing this, the Xuanmiao Empress frowned. Suddenly, she didn't want Wang Kai to go to the Nine-Heaven star field. Wang Kai and the others were too dangerous. Wang Kai was still okay, but Fatty Lu and the others weren't easy to deal with. If they overdid it and caused a disaster, Wang Kai would make a move and it would be a big mess. But even so, the Xuanmiao Empress was still very conflicted. If Wang Kai didn't go to the Nine-Heaven star field, how would she deal with the baleful aura in the Nine-Heaven palace? If she went, what would she do if a massacre happened? For a moment, the Xuanmiao Empress was very conflicted. What are you still standing there for? Why aren't you leading the way to the Nine-Heaven star field? Being able to get this young master to personally help is something that everyone in the entire universe yearns for, even in their dreams. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an impatient expression, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. Obtained 100,000,000 experience. Bragging points, 10,000. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching rank 2-star Emperor. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and obtaining 100-star source points." Whoosh! Hearing this, the Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes narrowed. She frowned and her face turned cold. Regarding Wang Kai's character, he really saw through it all too clearly. He was too despicable. Unfortunately, there was no one who could suppress him. Chapter 849. Left with no other choice, Xuanmiao Empress brought Wang Kai and the others to the Nine Heavens starfield. The welcoming scene in the Nine Heavens starfield was quite spectacular. A red carpet extended from the starfield to the starry sky, and coincidentally connected to the starry sky tyrant warship. At the same time, countless beautiful women stood on both sides of the red carpet. As Wang Kai and the others stepped out of the warship, a loud shout rang out. Music and dance to welcome the arrival of the Starry Sky's Supreme Mansion Master and the Hall Masters. Buzz, in an instant before Wang Kai and the others had even stepped onto the red carpet, those beautiful women had already started playing the zither and flute, dancing and singing in celebration of peace and prosperity. Damn, the Nine Heavens Starfield's welcoming method is really unique, Lu Tian said in a daze. Fatso Lu's belly shook as he grinned, as expected of the starry sky of the extraterritorial realm. They even turned a star into a brothel. At the same time, Wang Kai was also very surprised. Although he knew that Xuanmiao Empress had sent a message to the Nine Heavens Starfield in advance, he did not expect it to be like this. Your Nine Heavens Starfield is quite fashionable. You did a good job too, Wang Kai said with a playful smile. Whoosh! Xuanmiao Empress, who had a cold expression and eyes filled with anger, blushed when she heard this. She did not remember telling them to welcome him like this when she sent the message. Little did he know that Xuanmiao Empress's message had already shaken the entire Nine Heavens Starfield. The Starry Sky's Supreme Mansion Master, Wang Kai. His cultivation is above the Starry Sky realm. His exact cultivation is unknown, but it is certain that he has surpassed all the cultivators in the Xian domain. The exact cultivation level above the Starry Sky realm was still unknown. What was even more frightening was the fact that he had surpassed all the cultivators in the Xian domain. If they did not receive him well, wouldn't they be digging their own graves? Even if the Nine Heavens Starfield had connections with some factions in the Xian domain, they would not be a match for Wang Kai. In fact, the Nine Heavens Starfield felt that such a grand welcoming method was not enough. Bastard! Whose idea was this? How dare he use a woman to welcome Ben Shao? Do you think that Ben Shao, who has always claimed to be a gentleman, is a lecher who lusts after beauties? Suddenly, following Wang Kai's thunderous roar, the song and dance came to an abrupt halt. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 10 million experience and 10,000 bragging points. Whoosh! Everyone's gazes turned towards Wang Kai, while the girls trembled in fear. Their hearts were filled with despair. They were afraid that if Wang Kai was dissatisfied, they would lose their lives. Meanwhile, Fatso Lu and the others curled their lips in disdain. They knew that Wang Kai was trying to act tough again. He obviously liked this kind of scene, but he pretended to be disgusted. Disperse! Lady Mystery Meow was surprised. She looked at Wang Kai in surprise, then turned and waved at the girls. Yes, Your Highness. Yes, Mansion Master. Many beautiful women bowed in fear, lowered their heads, and quickly retreated. Who is the person in charge? Step forward! Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Whoosh! It's me, it's me. Mansion Master, please calm down. A middle-aged man stepped forward. When he arrived in front of Wang Kai, he knelt on one knee and cupped his fists to beg for forgiveness. This middle-aged man was the chief steward of the Nine Heavens Starfield, Xian Gongming. His authority was ranked 4th in the Nine Heavens Starfield. His cultivation was ranked 4th in the Nine Heavens Starfield. Who are you? Tell me your name. Wang Kai said indifferently. I am Xian Gongming, the chief steward of the Nine Heavens Starfield. I am also Lady Mystery's second uncle. Xian Gongming quickly replied with fear. How could he dare to disrespect Wang Kai when he was well aware of Wang Kai's cultivation? Oh, forget it, since you're Lady Mystery's second uncle, I'll forgive you this time. Remember to send some of the beauties to my room tonight. Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a calm smile. Whoosh! Hearing this, Xian Gongming was stunned. Lady Xian Miao, who was beside him, was also stunned. Fatso Lu and the others were not surprised, as if they had already expected this. Yes, 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 Mansion Master will be pleased. Xian Gongming collected his thoughts. He wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said respectfully. Let's go. Wang Kai nodded slightly. He placed his hands behind him and stepped onto the red carpet. With a flicker, he disappeared without a trace. Xian Gongming's eyes widened. The fear in his heart grew stronger. Even Lady Mystery and the strongest Nine Heavens Star Master would not be able to see Qin Nan's speed, let alone him. Crap. I haven't informed the Star Master yet. If he goes over now, won't there be an awkward silence? Suddenly, Xian Gongming was startled. He quickly turned around and ran. He took out a token from his chest and muttered to himself. He didn't come to welcome young Master Kai in advance. He had to wait for the notification before coming out to welcome him? This Nine Heavens Star Master is quite bold. Fatso Lu snorted disdainfully. Lu Tian and the others were also displeased. Shut up. My father has been suppressing his baleful qi for many years. He doesn't even want to leave for a single breath. Now that he's been notified, he's come out to greet Wang Kai. This is the first time in many years that he's made an exception. At the same time, at the end of the red carpet in Nine Heavens Starfield, in front of Nine Heavens Palace. Wang Kai frowned and looked around. There was no one around. He touched his nose and said with amusement, "What's going on? It was so lively just a moment ago. Why is it so cold now? Or is it that Benshio's speed is so fast that they have no time to prepare?" In order to awe them a little, Wang Kai had used the Star Emperor level movement technique, a thought of heaven and earth. In a single thought, he could reach any place in the yellow region's starry sky. This thought was less than a breath's time. Who would have thought that although the effect of awe was there was no one to be seen? It was indeed awkward. "Senior, please forgive me. I was suppressing my evil aura. If I left for a moment, the evil aura would become more serious. Therefore, I came out a little late." Following the appearance of an old and weary voice, a white-haired old man appeared in front of the palace door. He bowed to Wang Kai. Benshao is only in his 20s. Don't call Benshao a senior." Wang Kai waved his hand and said helplessly, "Whoosh." As soon as he said that, the old man's eyes flashed. He said with admiration, "Heroes come from the young. However, senior, you don't have to worry. It's natural for the weak to address the strong as a junior. In the cultivation world, age doesn't matter." Chapter 850. Regardless of age? The strong one was the old one? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He looked at the old man with black lines on his forehead and said indifferently, "Then don't call Benshao senior. Call Benshao father." Whoosh. The old man's expression froze. He looked at Wang Kai in a daze. For a moment, he did not know how to respond. No matter what, he was an old antique who had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years. In terms of strength, calling Wang Kai senior was the greatest form of respect. Who would have thought that Wang Kai would like others to call him father? Could this be called father? Forget it. I won't tease you anymore. It's just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Wang Kai saw the old man's troubled expression and could not help but wave his hand with a smile. He pointed at the 3 words, Nine Heavens Palace, on the palace gate and smiled faintly. "Aren't you guys a little too anxious? Benshao just arrived and you want Benshao to break the baleful aura?" "Palace Master, I have been suppressing the baleful aura here for 630,000 years. If I don't break it soon, I'm afraid that in half a year, the entire starry sky of the yellow region will turn into dust," the Nine Heavens Star Master said with a cupped fist salute. 630,000 years? Didn't they say that the baleful aura appeared not long ago? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He looked at the Nine Heavens Star Master with a confused expression and asked in surprise. Xuanmiao said that the baleful aura appeared not long ago. When did it appear? 630,000 years ago. Moreover, it has been 630,000 years. And you are still a mere ninth-grade Star King? Aren't you too weak? The Nine Heavens Star Master looked embarrassed. He lowered his head and cupped his fist. Xuan Miao only found out about the baleful aura recently. I did not tell her the truth. For the past 630,000 years, I have been suppressing the baleful aura and have had no time to cultivate. Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain at such an answer. The baleful aura could destroy the entire starry sky of the Yellow region. How could a Star King suppress it for 630,000 years? Furthermore, the system had said that Xiao Chen's previous star venerate cultivation could not resolve the baleful aura. A mere Star King, not to mention suppressing him, he didn't even have the qualifications to approach him. Are you hiding something from Ben Xiao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, Can you suppress the baleful aura with your cultivation? The Nine Heavens Star Lord did not hesitate when he heard this. He said bluntly, Patriarch, the method of suppression was given to me by Senior Old Man Tianji. He was also the one who said that you are the only one in the entire universe who can break the murderous aura. Whoosh! Elder Tianji. Wang Kai's expression immediately darkened. His eyes were filled with an ominous glint as he gritted his teeth. If he had the chance, he really wanted to smash Old Man Tianji into pieces. It could be said that ever since he had gone to the Eight Desolations, most of his troubles had been caused by the Old Man of Heavenly Secrets. But he couldn't do anything to him. He couldn't even find a trace of him. On the other hand, Old Man Tianji knew his whereabouts very well. Sometimes, Wang Kai even suspected that the Old Man Tianji had a system. Otherwise, how could he know his location when his aura was hidden by the system? It was simply too strange. What else did he say about Ben Xiao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes as he placed his hands behind his back and asked indifferently. The Nine Heavens Star Lord hesitated for a while before he gritted his teeth and said, Senior Old Man Tianji said that even you would have to put in a lot of effort to break the murderous aura. You might even die. Whoosh! Wang Kai's face turned even colder when he heard this. He couldn't understand why the Old Man Tianji had said this. Was he trying to provoke him to break the murderous aura, or was he looking down on him? The Old Man Tianji came to the Nine Heaven Palace 630,000 years ago. Is that right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked. That's right. When the Old Man Tianji came, the murderous aura began to appear. The Nine Heaven Star Lord cupped his fists and said, The murderous aura had appeared the moment the Old Man Tianji came. Didn't this mean that the Old Man Tianji had been plotting against him since then? What the hell was this? He hadn't even been born 630,000 years ago. What was the Old Man Tianji trying to do by making such preparations in advance? Or was he not plotting against him? Then why was he looking for him? Could it be the system? That shouldn't be the case. Wang Kai frowned as his mind buzzed. He couldn't think of a reason and could only stop thinking about it in the end. No matter what the Old Man Tianji was up to, everything would be clear once he reached the sky domain. However, there was only one thing that could be confirmed. The Old Man Tianji must be very powerful. 630,000 years ago, he was able to make the Nine Heavens Starlord submit and call himself a junior. How could the Old Man Tianji be weak? Starlord, Mansion Master, as a voice rang out, the figure of the great manager of the mysterious palace hurriedly rushed over. He was even panting heavily. Even a Star King realm expert was panting in exhaustion. One could imagine how far the sky domain was from the Nine Heaven Stars. Wait here for Xuan Miao and the others. You, take Ben Xiao to see the murderous aura. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. Yes, Mansion Master. Hearing this, both Xian Gongming and the Master of the Nine Heavens were overjoyed. Even the Nine Heavens Star Lord was like a waiter in a restaurant, bowing and leading the way. In the Nine Heaven Palace, Wang Kai and the Nine Heaven Star Lord stood in front of a dry well. Looking at the gray murderous aura that was spreading out from the dry well, the Nine Heavens Star-Lord's face was filled with sorrow. Wang Kai was stunned. He touched his nose and said in surprise, "Isn't this the murderous aura? Even the murderous aura can't break it?" He vaguely remembered seeing the murderous aura in the Fan Prefecture. The Underworld Prefecture in the immortal martial domain was also the main source of the murderous aura. However, he didn't expect that the murderous aura in the extraterritorial starry sky was the murderous aura. Yes, the murderous aura is the murderous aura. I'm not sure where it comes from. Elder Tianji didn't reveal it either. The Nine Heavens Star-Lord nodded and said. Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes flickered and he secretly used his consciousness to ask, "How many bragging points do I need to break this murderous aura?" Host, with your current cultivation level, you only need to spend 50,000 bragging points to break this murderous aura. 50,000. Host, Wang Kai profession, Star Warrior realm. Second rank Star Emperor title. Unparalleled bragging technique, shaking heaven and earth star technique. Karma Dao technique star technique. 5 thunder sky covering palm, yin and yang in one thought, thunder and fire, star stepping identification. Torch dragon eye equipment. Starry sky tyrant, heavenly halberd star power. Level 8 star source points. 2260 physique. Invulnerable protector beast. Sun Wukong bragging points. 50,000 experience. 100000030000000 int. Damn it. I just bragged about 50,000 bragging points, and now I have to spend them all again? Damned Elder Tianji, if I don't destroy you, it'll be my loss. Wang Kai humphed coldly with a sullen face. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.